Your editing gags are so on point, Pocho. That's been said a few times.
My editing gags?
Yeah, when you're doing your jokes.
Yeah, do you think so? I think my jokes are pretty bad. I have some really bad ones in the Witcher video. I have some really, really bad ones. There's so many good puns. And by good puns, I mean awful puns.
I think your jokes are funny.
I had the best joke ever that I was gonna have in the video, and I cut it. I couldn't get it to work, and it turned out it was too much trouble for 5 seconds of work. And I will tell you guys what it was right now because it's gone. I can't do it. But this was the best joke, and it was like a unique joke. Like no one else would ever be. Well, hardly anyone else would ever be in this position to do it. No, I can't do it. It's already done. So I've said it before. When I started the video, like way back when I started the video, I stopped cutting my hair. I stopped cutting my hair and I stopped shaving. So for a long time, I had this really long hair, and I had a really long beard, and I still do have quite a long beard, and my hair isn't short right now, but I did cut my hair a couple months ago. So the plan was, if I could pull it off, depending on how long the video took, was I was going to there was going to be a part in the video where I was going to say, all right, now we've played the games. Now I've played all the games. Now I'm going to record this, and I'm going to go read all the books now, and then I'm going to play the games again, and then I'm going to come back and continue the video. It's going to be on camera. Like I was going to record myself doing this, and I was going to have because Lily was pregnant at this point, and I was going to be like, okay, and I was going to have the newborn baby in my hands as I was saying it, and then I was going to just hard cut to okay, I've read all the books and played all the games again, and now instead of having the newborn baby in my hand, I have one of the boys who's much bigger, and I'm going to pass it off as the newborn baby, and now my hair is really long and my beard is really long because when I recorded the first scene, it was like I recorded the first scene second, like it was after I cut all my hair and I have the baby in my head, and then I just record the second scene first with all my hair and beard really long, and it's like, okay, now I'm done, and here's my really long beard and my hair, and the kid is just gigantic in my lap, but it just wasn't worth the trouble. Like it was just like, it was too much trouble to set up like the recording thing, and I've never recorded something like that before, and like it was just like for my rule for jokes is that they can't take up too much time and they can't take too much time in the video. I really wanted to do it, and maybe I can still do some of it kind of like in another video later on, but it was just too much work and it was too much trouble. But I was like, that was the joke I really wanted to do, and I thought it would have been great. But yeah, that was I was disappointed when I couldn't do that. But yeah, that was my joke. I talk about this a little bit in the Witcher video because I don't like how Witcher 3's progression system works. I think that Witcher 2 also suffers a little bit from this too. Witcher 1 doesn't. I think that Witcher 1 and 2 just simply does not give you enough skill points to not spoil the video. Like it just, the way that works, the way the combat system works in Witcher 2, like I feel like they could have let you just unlock every single tree in that game, and it would have just been an improvement. Just let you unlock every single thing, and the game would just be like twice as good in terms of combat right from that. And for Witcher 3, I find it very strange that Witcher 3 has this skill point unlock system where you gain experience just from doing shit, and that gives you skill points, and you unlock new skills with it. But you also have to unlock the slots to oh, I don't know what I did there. And you also have to unlock the slots to put the skills in. So even if you have a lot of skill points and you've unlocked a lot of skills, you can only have without the DLC, you can only have like 12 skills equipped, and that's just kind of really weird considering how hard it is to get the skills. Like to me, I think all the skill points should have been available, all the skills should have been available, or you get them via exploration and you use skill points to upgrade them, and you use levels to unlock the slots to put them in. But even then, that's kind of weird. Like I talk about this more in the video because it's just a really weird fucking system. It feels just like it just feels like two systems smashed together thoughtlessly, so I'm not a big fan of it. But yeah, I think overall I like the tangible feedback of, hey, you use a skill, you get better at the skill as you use it. But I also really like for non-RPGs, I also really like learning techniques. Like Catherine is a good example. Yeah, I enjoy the wow, you could have done this and you could have taught yourself it early even. But yeah, that's how I feel. Yep. So I talk about magic in the Witcher video, hard and soft magic systems briefly. I also talk about low and high fantasy. So I prefer hard magic systems. The magic system that I have in my fantasy series is a mostly hard magic system. So in case anyone is unfamiliar, a hard magic system is when the magic system is described enough that the reader can understand what is possible, what the limits are, what the rules are, and it can be used to solve problems in a way that feels very fair to the readers. So it's treating magic more as a science. So if a book has a hard magic system and then out of nowhere they just have a new spell that doesn't follow the same amount of rules as the other magic system just to get them out of a problem, it's kind of like they just pull the crap out of their ass because they wrote themselves into a corner and the writer is cheating. Whereas a soft magic system is very much like Harry Potter. Harry Potter is a soft magic system where the rules of the magic system are kept away from the reader. They just kind of make things up as they go along. It's a lot more about like rituals and emotions and just like things can be just made up. That doesn't mean that there aren't moments of hard magic system like in Harry Potter, and just like there can't be moments of soft magic system in a book that otherwise has a hard system. Like they can mix and match. It depends on how it's done, as always. But I prefer a hard magic system because I prefer literature or stories to have rules and stakes that I can understand instead of it just being, hey, we're just going to make this shit up as we go along. That's what I prefer to have. I will say that I am way more willing for soft magic to have to be used by the antagonists. But this depends on the kind of story that it is. My view of antagonists in stories is that an antagonist should also be a protagonist. It's just that you don't get to see their side of the story. Like that's the way you should write your antagonist. It should just be that everyone is the protagonist of their own story. Really, it's not just like I'm limiting myself here, but like that's how I think every character should be written. Every character should be written of the protagonist of their own story that you're not even seeing. But if you're seeing it from the perspective of a protagonist and the antagonist is there to do what traditional antagonists do, then it's fine to have like a softer magic system and even some coincidences and even some ass pulls in order to get the protagonist into trouble. So my view on coincidences and stuff like that in stories is actually that they're forgivable and even like a good thing if they exist to get the heroes into more trouble and to raise the stakes, but they can never be used in order to get them out of trouble. That's when it becomes kind of cheap and cheating. Like if you want your characters to get out of a problem later on, you need to set it up. You need to like put the work in to be like, hey, this is how they're going to get out of this problem. You just didn't realize it yet. And that's why hard magic systems are some of my favorite. Star Wars is the Force in Star Wars is a soft magic system, but a lot of people seem to think that it's a hard magic system, and then you get into all these problems of like, oh wow, like how are they able to do that? How are they able to do this? It's like no, like you don't understand. Like this is a soft magic system. Like this is how it works. You know, this is basically Harry Potter, and if you don't understand that, then you're gonna have a bad time, and you're gonna make really really long YouTube videos about it. I think that the soft magic system working on in favor of the protagonist is also something that's acceptable if it comes with a sacrifice. So if it's like, okay, we're gonna have an ass pull, but you're gonna pay, so that can also work. So there are different ways to do it, but this is more talking about like genre fiction and stuff, and it's interesting. I really like genre fiction, but so there's gonna be some amount of cheese into it, of course. But yeah, that's how I view magic, and I prefer hard magic systems. Oh, we're just stealing? Industrial coal pellets burn with an orange glow. We just go into people's houses and just take stuff and they don't care right in front of them? What is this, Witcher 3? Thoughts on the Batman Arkham series? I only recently played Batman Arkham series for the first time for the Witcher video. I played some of the games briefly to see if Witcher 3 combat was Batman Arkham combat, because I had never played it before. And I thought it was okay what little I played.
Okay.
There was this part. There's a part in the Witcher video where I'm talking about all the notes that I took, and I speak about how one of the notes was me very, very angrily writing, Witcher 1, Taller cheats at dice. Do an analysis of every dice game against every opponent in the game to confirm that Taller cheats at dice. And I get to like the part in the video like months later when it's time to put it together, and I'm like, nope, not doing that. Fuck you, Pastio. Nope. That's how it feels right now. When you say written, you mean the way it's told, right? Not just the way it's told, but also like, okay, so I talk about this in the Witcher video. Surprise, surprise. Hold on, is there a post-credits thing? Okay, so there's different things that you can mean when you say something is good writing. There's story construction, like how well you plot things. It can even just mean simply like just diction. How you have constructed your prose, like or your characters or your characterization, and how well those are written. Dialogue could also be separated out as well, but I would say that's probably how you're constructing your prose. So a game or a piece of writing can have really, really bad characters, and it can be really poorly written in terms of like prose construction, but it can still be a really good story. And the opposite is true too. So you can have a book that is a really bad story, but it has really good characters, and the way that it's told is just like, it just has gorgeous paragraphs. You know what I mean? It's really rare that you're going to get something that hits all of them. You know what I mean? So that's what you can talk about when you say something has good writing. So I would say that Disco Elysium's story probably isn't that great. It's probably around average. It's amazing for video games, but in terms of the story, it's hard with video games because there's all these little side stories too, right? So the side stories are really good, but the main story is kind of unsatisfying. It's just some guy that lived on an island, you know what I mean? So maybe that's supposed to represent something that I don't understand right now. I need to play it some more. It just feels like there was like this evil god left over of the past, reign that was just spying on everyone for decades and just killing people that he didn't like and judging them, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And that's a cool idea, I like that. But in terms of the story and setting up of the mystery, it's not very satisfying. So it was like, my gut feeling was correct that it wasn't a mystery you were meant to solve, you know? Joe, I'm currently playing a cool game. It's called The Witcher 3. I think you would enjoy it. That's where you'd be wrong, bucko. Nah, I liked Witcher 3. It's my favorite of the 3 games. Disco Elysium or Witcher 3, I have to choose. What do you mean? Choose what to play? Choose which is the better game? They're so different. That's not a fair decision. One's like the greatest RPG that's ever been created, and the other one's Witcher 3. So, no, Witcher 3 is pretty good. I don't know which like, what are you interested in? Feel kind of bad saying, like, taking cracks at Witcher 3. There's been a bunch of like people at CDPR Project that have emailed me over the past like week and a half and are like, yeah, we really liked your video, and I feel bad taking cracks at their game. It's a good game. Witcher 3 is my favorite of the 3, but the DLC is a big part of that. If it wasn't for the DLC, probably be my second favorite after Witcher 1. I really like Witcher 1. Do I get all of them? Okay, I fucking better, because I can only equip 3 at a time. What do you think this is, Witcher 3? Don't know if I should cut down the Witcher 3 section where I talk about Triss and Yennefer, though, because it's 2 hours right now, and I don't know. I think that's maybe 30 minutes too long. Get it down to 90 minutes. 45 minutes each. Have you thought about reviewing movies? I don't know. I talk very briefly about this sort of thing and how I'm probably ill-equipped to review movies in the Witcher 3 video, actually, because I speak about this part in the Witcher 3 DLC Hearts of Stone, that there's this section where I think it's like a 2-hour scene. It's a party scene. If you've played the DLC, you know what I'm talking about. And it goes on for like 2 hours. And if that was a movie, that would be just a completely shit movie. But because it's in a game, like, not only is it acceptable, like, the pacing of it, a lot of people really like that part. It's one of their favorite parts of the DLC. So, I mean, like, I watch Your Movie Sucks, Adam, on YouTube, and he has a lot of complaints about pacing in movies. And I can't really remember the last time that I ever watched a movie and was like, yeah, that really didn't need 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I'm perfectly fine for the visual medium to take its time, as you can tell from my videos. No, but seriously, like I'm fine with it. In books and games, though, I really do feel that. So I think that it's not a problem of taste; it's a problem of expertise. Like when a movie is a little too long, I probably do feel it. But like, there have been movies that I've watched that I felt like, yeah, this was fine, and then I watched some review and it's like, yeah, this dragged, it needed 30 minutes too long. I'm like, wow, really? Like, I didn't feel that at all. So I don't know. TV shows and movies very rarely feel too long to me, but games and books definitely can get like that. That's not to say I've never watched something and thought, wow, this really dragged, or this part really sucked, they shouldn't have had that. Like, that has happened, but it's pretty rare. Whereas movie critics seem to have this criticism all the fucking time. Maybe it's because watching TV and movies is inherently, like, or intrinsically a relaxing experience for me, so if things take a little bit too long, I'm very rarely bothered by it. I don't know. But I think it's a matter of expertise as well, because there are YouTube videos that I've watched that I think, yeah, this is going on too long. Yeah, I get it. You know, like I really don't need this. Like I'm fine now, which might be a surprise again coming from me who makes those videos. But yeah. Have I tried a potion build in Witcher 3? Nope. I know that they're OP, but it's not necessary. Thank you, Senrahen, for the 28-month resub. I really enjoyed the Witcher videos. Looking forward to the third one. Me too, Senrahen. Thank you very much for the resub. I hope it lives up to the hype. I think the Witcher 3 video is the best one of the three. But hey, I thought the Witcher 2 video sucked, and most people seem to like it. So maybe Witcher 3 video will be the worst one. So we'll see. T. Jones has used 100 bits to say, should I choose Triss or Yen in my first Witcher 3 playthrough? Unironically, you should go with your heart, but your heart should say Yen. Will I be able to watch the Witcher 3 video without spoiling Witcher 2 for myself? No. Did you use any mods for Witcher 3? No, I did not. I drew the line at mods. In a perfect world, I would have had time to do some mod runs and see the different combat mods and see if any mods update different parts of the game, blah, 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 blah. But no, I decided to draw the line there, so that's not going to happen. If a game's set in the past or it came out a long time ago, I just kind of blank on the dates a little bit. So yeah, that makes sense. I'm also coming off Witcher, which gets its dates wrong all the time. Like time doesn't exist for the Witcher games. Like it's completely dumb. Like that whole thing in Witcher 2 about Bernard Laredo and the Asylum thing. It doesn't really make sense in terms of dates, but it still seems pretty clear that's what happened. And then in Witcher 3, you'll have Geralt going up to people and being like, "Wow, it's been years since I saw you, and it's been 8 months." You know, like it's been years. I know, Geralt. I'm sorry. It's like I'm a Witcher. Like yeah, it's been 8 months, dude. Like what the fuck. Friendship ended with Yusuke. Now Chadworth is my best friend. I love this meme so much. It's the best meme. 69%. How's that straight percent doing? There's a follow-up joke for that in the Witcher 3 video, by the way. Master Moss 2K has also used 300 bits to say, "Hey Joe, loved your Witcher 2 video. You inspired me to pick up and read the novels. Which is your favorite book from the series? Cheer, cheer, cheer." My favorite book overall is probably Sword of Destiny. But if you're talking about, like, the first two books, The Last Wish and Sword of Destiny are collections of short stories that are connected through, like, some characters. And after that, the next 5 are a continuing saga. It's really like one book split into 5 parts. So my favorite of those is Lady of the Lake, is the last one of the 5-part saga. Geralt is sexualized too. I agree with that. Yeah, I think Geralt is sexualized. Is Geralt sexualized? I don't think Geralt is sexualized. I think Geralt is sexy. I don't think Geralt is sexualized. I think the amount of sexualization that happens with Geralt is appropriate. I think that's in line with it. Geralt's like fucking hot in Witcher 3, man. Like I have a line about that. There's a joke in the Witcher 3 video about how he gets hotter in every entry. You know, and here's some spoilers for the video. Like in Witcher 1, he looks like a walking fucking corpse. In Witcher 2, he looks kind of off, but you know, he's definitely been upgraded. In Witcher 3, he's like Danger Dilf 9000, and then in the Witcher Netflix series, he's the hottest man in the world. You know, like that's how it is. That's the joke. There you go. There's a part of that joke I'm leaving out, but yeah, like he's ridiculously attractive in Witcher 3. The poll is, what game has better side quests, Yakuza 0 or Witcher 3? Okay, so right now, Yakuza 0 is winning this poll, and it's about halfway done, by a landslide. Now maybe it's because we're playing Yakuza 0 right now. I can't comment on it yet because I haven't finished this game, but I have finished Witcher 3. You may have heard about that. Yakuza 0 is winning by 84% to 16% Witcher 3. So Yakuza 0 is winning by a fucking landslide. Okay? So, I'm surprised by this because people seem to think, in general, that the best part of The Witcher 3 is its side quests. So, I'm surprised by this result. So, as a special reward for the people that stuck around for the streams and everything, I will reveal one of 3 highly controversial statements that are in the Witcher 3 video. The 3 controversial statements, you know, this is probably the most controversial statement that's in the whole thing, in the whole series. Witcher 3 side quests are only okay. They're not bad. Witcher 3 side quests are only okay. That is the most controversial statement in the whole series. That's gonna get the most hate. Busted my ass to beat that blacksmith quest in half the recommended level, only to get something worse than the sword I had. Yeah, that's a big problem in The Witcher 3 as well. You know, no matter what, you're always gonna get like rewards that are 3 levels below what you are or something. No matter what quest the level is, apart from one time in vanilla Witcher 3, and I think there's one time in Blood and Wine 2 that you actually do get a quest reward that isn't auto leveled. In Witcher 3, it's the Griffin, the Griffin quest, or I think it's a Griffin, outside of the Baron's Keep, that it killed some kid's parents. And if you do that, you get a level, no matter what level you are, you get a level 28 axe, I think, or a level 32 axe, I can't remember. And I think there's one in Blood and Wine as well that's like that, and it helps. It gives you something to work toward. It was really a big misstep in Witcher 3, man. I can't remember what it was. I show it in the Witcher 2 video. I showed that quest in the Witcher 2 video. I showed throwing a bomb in it. Wasn't it a cockatrice? It might be a cockatrice. I know there's another quest there that you get later to go up the north that spawns for a different reason, and maybe that's the Griffin I'm thinking of. Damn. Now this is Witcher. We're going all the way down here. Alright. It wouldn't let us in before? Oh, we got a RP walk there, okay. How do video games get away? This is a point I bring up in the DLC section of the Witcher 3 video. How do video games get away at having this kind of pacing, man? Like, how long is this taking? And it's like, okay, yeah, let's go. Like, if this was a movie... He's evolving. Excuse me? Yeah, fuck off. No. No, that was horseshit. That was pure horseshit. I'm mad. Oh, I'm mad. Dude, yours, yeah. That was pure Witcher 3 hitbox horseshit. Okay, so if you really want to play this game and like for a reason you couldn't and you decided to watch me play it first for whatever reason, like if you've been excited for it, can I like very, very strongly recommend, I know it's going to be difficult, strongly recommend to just not until a year from now. I'm going to say a year. I think it really does need a year. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be like completely glitch free. Witcher 3 today is glitchy as fuck. Like some of my playthroughs of Witcher 3 were as glitchy as my playthroughs of Fallout 4. That's how glitchy Witcher 3 can still be, with just like bonkers shit happening. But this is a whole other level of just like this is this is Bethesda tier bullshit. Like, this is on the same level of Fallout 76, it feels like to me. Which game had a better start? CyberPunk or Witcher 3? Witcher 3 for sure. Witcher 3 has a pretty good start. Any thoughts on 2077 last few days? No, not really. It's still glitchy as fuck. I've played it for about 50 hours. I think there's probably a good game hidden under somewhere. I'm pretty bored. I'm bored of the gameplay. I'm bored of the story. The world is very pretty. That's probably the best thing it has going for it. I just keep running into glitches. I'm having a lot of fun just trying to get to places that I'm not supposed to, even though it's very easy to get to them. The game has a double jump, and you can get to places that the game was just not ready for you to get to. I learned how to jump up walls. I am getting better at the quick jump that you can do with like an implant if you hold down block and then tap in a direction and you go really, really fast in a direction. There's like stuff like that. Like a lot of the most fun parts of the game are unintentional. So yeah, it's a bit weird. I played for 90 minutes today before stream, and every single minute that I played was either like basking in the glory of a glitch or just chasing a glitch because I wanted to figure out how it worked. My car started spawning in the floor. I couldn't get it out of the floor. It kept falling. It kept bobbing up through the street like it was Jaws breaking through the water in the ocean. I jumped into the car when it happened, and then I started falling with it too under the world. My motorbike spawned in the air. Then my car spawned in the air and fell like 200 meters and landed right next to me. Chopped some guy's head off and got stuck in an animation, and then I could loot his guns endlessly. They kept respawning, so I got like 100 free guns from him. I had to cap my inventory. Just non-stop bullshit. It just never ends. Would you say it's on the same level as Fallout 76? I think it's worse than Fallout 76. It's hard to say. The only thing that's better is that it doesn't crash. It hasn't crashed on me once, whereas 76 crashed on me all the time. But I think in terms of the amount of glitches and how they ruin the game, I think that the glitches are more damning in 77 than they are in 76. It's really, really bad. I don't know if other people are having like a better time with it. I don't know, but like I'm also considering the AI, the lack of AI, and and like the police AI too, and everything like that. I consider those to be glitches because so does CDPR Writers. Like it's so broken. You can just walk down the street in the game, okay? And there's a bunch of NPCs around you. Just walk down the street into a crowd, and then pull out your gun and fire at the floor, okay? Just fire at the floor, and you'll see NPCs go, "Oh my god," and then turn around and then look back, and they've all disappeared. Like they vanish. Like the game just fucks with you. It's like this level of just like cars disappearing, like, and then reappearing, and just like there's just, it just really fucks with my head even, you know? Like it's just crazy. There's like this weird thing that happens with this is kind of a spoiler, I guess. Like I guess it's not really a spoiler, but like everyone knows Keanu Reeves is in the game, but Keanu Reeves is he's a projection in your head. So like he will show up sometimes, and like there's this thing where you can look at him and he'll talk to you, and then when you look away and look back, he's gone because he's not real, right? Like he is a real person, but he's not actually there. And when that happens, it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, but that happens with everyone. Like cars, everyone. Like I saw a fucking like highway from a distance, and it was full of cars. Like there were so many cars on this highway, and I was like, wow, I've never seen that many cars before. And I got my scope out, and I'm following getting close to the street, and as I'm getting closer, the cars start blip 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 out of existence, because there's like a circle around you, and that's where things can spawn out of, and it's just gone. It's crazy. It's crazy. Just the game's just busted. Alright, this might be loud. I'm sorry if it is. Oh, no, it's not. It's messed up. Hold on, let me turn it down. I can't hear it. Here we go, watch this. What the fuck? Like, I'm stuck in that animation now. It took, like, now he's swinging it down to see, like, if he can chop the head off. Or she can chop the head off. Like, and then I have to, like flew across the screen for this. Like, let's see it again. Like, there's more to it. And then I could just loot his guns forever. They just kept respawning. His eyebrows are floating in his head, too. Like, Look at this shit. Did you guys see the stealth bike? The stealth bike is amazing. I love the stealth bike. Hold on. Okay, so watch this guy. All right, I edited this one so it speeds up. All right, so this guy, I'm dropping this guy off. All right, so I sped that up, and then he gets out of the car. Boom. All right, what the fuck? And then he vanishes. It's like, where'd he go? This was glitched the whole time too. Like this is a whole story. And then he's gone. So I'm like, okay, where the fuck did he go? And I go over here, and the car drives away, leaving this guy. And then watch this. Amazing. And then the car vanishes. It just boop, it's gone. Boop. Like just amazing. Just that's the whole game. The whole game has been this. Where's the stealth bike? Because it just proves that enemies are completely deaf. All right. So here's stealth bike. So like this is a good example of something that, like, is this a glitch? Like I think it is. It's just that they forgot to add hearing to the NPCs. Here we go. All right, so here's the stealth bike. All right, the group of people that are alert. All right, here you go. Like here I go. Bum 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 bum. I'm honking the horn. I get off. I'm like, okay, fuck this. All right, I'm gonna stealth kill you. All right. Now you're stealth killed, and it's like the necks keep snapping. The sound keeps happening as you're walking around. All right, so here you go. There's number one. I sped it up. All right, they're back. All right, here's number two. Gotta get back on my stealth bike. All right. Bum, 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 bum. Would you watch 3 hours of this? That sounds entertaining to me, right? Here we go. Can't believe this shit. I can't believe it.
What was that?
All right, another one dead. Can we do one more? Bum 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 ba-dum. Bum bum. And then she hears the body fall down or something like that, and then we fight. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Just amazing stealth bike. If you've watched a couple of my streams just about anything really, like, you know that I like to push the boundary of where I'm allowed to go and what I'm allowed to do, and especially in an open world game, that's kind of what open world games are all about experimentation, and just sometimes the game just shits the bed whenever I do that. So like sometimes the glitches are kind of my fault because like I'm pushing against the game, but like the game should still be, you know, prepared for that. But other times, no, they just show up, you know? Like, most of the game's glitches are, like, animation, texture, and model related. Not so much LOD, actually. The LOD seems to be fine, surprisingly. It's a very pretty game, but it just has issues. And this is just on the technical side. Like, the game has, like, a lot of problems, even if the technical side was fine. Like, I really disagree with all these people that are saying, you know, as soon as they fix all the glitches, like, the game's gonna be this perfect 10 out of 10. Like, no, like, if they fixed all the glitches and it ran fine and there was no problems and everything, like, if the AI is glitched, okay, that'll add to the gameplay, like, but even if they fixed all that, like it's at best an 8 out of 10, like, at best, you know, like, the best part of the game is its visuals and the immersion is being ruined by a lot of the problems right now. So, like, I can say for Cyberpunk 2077 the same thing I can say about Witcher 3, which is the best thing about it is its visuals. You know, its presentation is just the same kind of thing too. Like, the overall graphics and fidelity it has is very, very impressive, and also the amount of work that they put into the conversations is very, very impressive. So in Witcher 3, I say this in the video, that there's a shit ton of work done on cinematography, which most games don't do, especially most open world games rather. Like, a lot of the scenes have like these really cool shots that even match the themes of what's going on. Like, there's a part like in Blood and Wine where Geralt's in trouble, and there's this really, really cool shot where, you know, it's just like this really little thing, you know, it's not exactly subtle, but it's just this little thing that happens where just at the end of the shot, like, it shows Geralt, like, the camera is looking through a noose, you know, in the foreground, and it's a very small noose. It's not like, oh, here, look at this gigantic noose. It's just things like that. There's lots and lots of touches. Like, people put work into this for the side quests and the main quests, and most open world games
the conversations and everything are just talking heads, you know, and that's fine, but like Witcher 3 went above and beyond that in an open world game, which is just amazing that there's so much content and there's a lot of this work. There is some talking head sections, but like, and that's fine, but a lot of work went into the presentation in different parts, and the dialogue, the writing, like CD Projekt's dialogue writing has always been good. Like, there's been problems in Witcher 1, obviously, like some of it's a bit stilted and janky and the delivery is a bit off, but like there's different kinds of writing. Again, this is in the Witcher 3 script, but like the dialogue writing is just great, like really good. Like, there's a lot of problems with the plot in all 3 games. The first one less so than the other two. I think the first one has the best plot writing, but the dialogue writing is just stellar. Like, it's just so good. And in Cyberpunk 2077, it's just not, you know, like the dialogue writing is actually pretty bad, and I don't know if that's because they didn't have Geralt as a crutch to lead on, but like, I really hate V. Like, I hate how she's always like, all right then, I guess we gotta go do this. All right, I'm gonna lean into my vocal fry and yeah, we gotta take these guys down. You know, like, it's just, I just hate V. Like, and V is in every scene, you know, like, and I don't really like Keanu either, you know, or Keanu's character. Like, there's parts where it's fine, but I don't know, I just did the Pan Am quest and I like Pan Am's character. I'm not gonna say any spoilers, by the way. Like, I'm gonna say characters and you interact with them, but I'm not gonna say anything else. I just did Pan Am's quest, and I like Pan Am, but I hate her quest. It was boring. It just kept saying the same shit over and over and over again, and it's just like, okay, I get it. I get Pan Am's situation. I get the problem she's in. You don't need to say it for the 4th fucking time. You know, like, I don't need to hear it again. And it's just like, fuck, man. Like, but she's a good character, but like, it's a bad situation. Whereas like I really like Takamura. Like, the best part in the whole game was this. I think it's an optional scene too, and I recently did it. Was sitting on top of a roof talking to Takamura. That's been the best scene in the whole game so far. It's just with the cat. Like, that's the best scene, and it's like, okay, cool, right? And like, but everything else, Takamura is also like Cyberpunk's version of Roach, and I like Roach. So like, it's just, the gameplay is better than I thought it was going to be, but you have to understand that my expectations were like real fucking low. So the fact that it's just like one step around serviceable is like really good to me. I like the progression. I like that there's a lot of things to work toward. It's decent, but like, it's also busted as fuck. Like, the shooting doesn't feel like the target works all the time. Like, when you aim down sights, it doesn't. I feel like there's a lot of times where I'm aiming right and it just doesn't land. The hacking seems really tacked on. It's a really cool idea, but it just doesn't feel finished. The stealth is fucking broken, as we saw with the stealth bike. Do you guys want to see the stealth bike again? Let me show the stealth bike. Right? Like, the glitch video is going to have a whole section called The Stealth Bike Chronicles, because I just keep doing this shit, because it's so funny to me. I just keep fucking just going into camps as the stealth bike and just killing everyone. Like, I crashed into a wall as the stealth bike and it didn't fucking trigger anything. Where's the stealth bike? It's gonna be really loud. Alright, so there we go. Here's the stealth bike. So I'm honking on the horn. Control is honk on the horn. It doesn't tell you that. And just like I literally crashed through 2 piles of barrels next to someone today, and into a wall, like, to the point where I like was flung off the bike, got back up, got back on the bike, and drove it away in a group of like 6 people, and it didn't trigger because the bike is silent. Like, this is how busted the game is. It's completely fucking broken. You know what's weird though? Getting off the bike can trigger them sometimes. The hacking minigame? I didn't bring up the hacking minigame. Like, or what do you mean the hacking minigame? Like choosing all the letters and the thing? That's fine. I'm talking about the hacking itself when you select something and like blind them or distract it and that sort of thing. Like I think that's really undercooked. I feel like there's a really good system like underneath that. And it's just not there. It's like 50% done, and that kind of sums up everything. It's like it's 50% done, you know? Like I haven't found a single good side quest yet. Not a single one. I finished 2 areas of the city. I'm guessing more opens later in the sections of the city, so they're not 100% done. Despite I've played it for like 50 to 60 hours, and despite that I haven't gotten very far because I just keep running into glitches. And like in that time, I've done, I don't know how many side quests I've done. There's gigs and side jobs, and the gigs have been mostly a waste of time, and the side jobs haven't really felt any different to me. You know, there was a side job where I went to some place to find the guy, and when I got them back to the person who gave me the job, it just like verbatim did a scene from The Office. And I was just like literally just staring at the screen with my jaw hanging open, just in dis-fucking belief that like they just verbatim do a scene from The Office. Like, you probably, if you know anything about The Office, you probably know it. It's the guy who comes from Japan, and he was a surgeon, and he killed a Yakuza boss during the surgery. And then my big secret, I kill a Yakuza boss on purpose. I good surgeon, the best. That one, like the game does that like almost word for word, like, and it comes out of nowhere. Fucking nowhere. Like, it's not set up at all. It's just, here's the end of the quest. Okay, here, why, by the way, why did you want this guy? And then he just says the line. Just what? Anyway, I haven't found a single good side quest yet. I'm sure there are some good side quests in there, like people who I trust, and I usually, like, I don't always agree with them, but I understand where they're coming from in terms of games. Like, it's impossible for you to find someone who you always agree with, but we still have to say, anyways, a disclaimer, have said that the game has good side content. So I'm sure there is some good side content. I just haven't found it yet. But like I haven't like just none. I've enjoyed some of the main stuff. To go back to that point I had about Witcher 3 and how it puts effort into the conversations. Like, there's been a couple scenes. One stands out with when you're talking to Evelyn early on in the Afterlife Club, and you're in like that bathroom kind of private area, and just the scale of that in that room as she's walking around and sitting next to her. I don't know how they managed to pull it off, but like the scale of the rooms and the and just the conversations as they're walking around and everything and interacting with them is really good. Like I like that a lot. Like it's a really good looking game. But yeah, I turned it off. But everything about it is just ruined by the glitches. Like the world building and the immersion is one of the best things about it, but your immersion's broken every single second when, you know, something flies out of the wall, or you fall through the ceiling, or, you know, like there's two people standing in the same place and they look like a monster, or, you know, just you shoot something and you turn around and everyone's gone, and just the animations never look right. Like, you go up and hit someone with your sword and it doesn't look like it connects, you know? And even if it does look like it connects, it looks like it's jittery, and the animations aren't paired properly, and there's no real hitboxes again, or like the animations aren't the attack. It's just effects tied to the motions that you're doing. I keep picking up bodies and moving them, and when I put them down, they fold into a suitcase shape, you know? Just, there's so much shit like that. The most fun I've had with the game is just driving around, looking at the city, while one of my favorite songs comes on the radio, which is I Really Want to Stay at Your House. I really like that song. So I'm just driving around like that. I'm like, okay, cool, the good song came on. It's not the fucking Shoot the Sun one. All right, time to drive around and just, like, bang my head to this song. That's the most fun I had with the game, you know? Have I tried melee combat? I'm primarily a sword user. That's what I like to do. I usually just run in and hit them with the katana, and a charged attack is usually a one-hit kill. At least it is now. The gunplay is like, it's okay, but I feel like the guns don't do enough damage. Like, I have a tech rifle now and I shoot them in the head through the wall, and it just feels like that just breaks the game. Like, everything just kind of breaks the game. The most fun movement option in the game is unintentional, which is that you do a dash and then you block, and then you can just dash and it saves up all the movement and momentum, and you just go boom, gone. You know, that's actually cool. If that was part of the game, you know, then you move around that fast. Like, that's neat. Double jump breaks the game. Like, fuck, man. Forgot about the dumb references in Witcher 2, like the Assassin's Creed Prison Break stuff for your video, but apparently it's kind of humorous. CD Project love, huh? Like, I'm okay. I can tolerate it when it's like out of the way, and it's like something you can find. Like, there's a really on the nose Gladiator reference in Witcher 3 Blood and Wine that I thought was like borderline, just like, really, like, here's a ghost in this villa that's just gonna scream Maximus lines at you. It's like, okay, who's this for? Haha, remember the movie? That's okay, I guess it's acceptable, but when it's like a side quest and it just ends with just like, here's some lines from The Office, it's like, what? You know, like, that's where I think it crosses the line completely. I've not found the Portal reference yet, no. My bike doesn't have any stash. I can't put any, like, I can activate it. The stash button is there. I hit the button and it won't let me do it. So it's like, okay, cool. All right. I don't know why that's there. I prefer to use the bike than the car, but it won't let me put anything in the stash in the bike. It's like, okay, cool. You know, so just summon all my cars, like my fleet of cars, like fucking vehicles assemble. Here's my 2 bikes and my 2 cars just in a pile, you know. I love calling the car. Whenever I can, I just absent-mindedly hit V to call the car whenever I'm doing something, just to see what happens. It's like magic. It's like rolling the dice on what's something incredible happening, just summoning the car or the bike. It's like sometimes it's in the floor, sometimes it comes from the air, sometimes it just hits the ground and just goes up in the air. Sometimes it spawns in a wall and it's like going through a blender, and all the pieces of the car just shred off of it and just go spewing in all the directions. Like, sometimes it spawns with like the car door behind it floating in the air. It's just, I love summoning the car. Like, I kept, like, there was a scene where Keanu's talking to me and I kept summoning, and it let me summon the car during the conversation, and like so on my bike, and my bike just kept like going past behind him, going beep 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 beep, like, just fucking, I just hit it all the time, no matter what, you know. The charge jump gives more height than the double jump. Does it? I like the double jump because I just love double jump. I think every game that has a jump should have a double jump, unless you're going for like pure realism or like some grounded level of realism. I'm surprised there's a double jump. Like, you can get back into the hotel from one of the early missions, and like, it's really easy to get in there. They must think that you're going to get in there. There was even a quest marker, not quest marker. There was even like an interactable marker thing there that disappeared when I got in there, because that's something that happens. And like, I went in there, and like, you can climb all over that thing, and you can even like just jump up the slanted wall. You can get all the way up to the top, and then it won't let you get to the actual top. But then I fell through the building, and I got stuck in the basement, and it's just like shit like that, man. Am I going to play Paradise Killer? Maybe. I don't know. CyberPunk is a parkour game. It actually, you can parkour around the city quite well. I've had fun just jumping on top of buildings and getting to places you're not supposed to, and just jumping from building to building. You can do it quite well. Don't go on the train tracks though, because that's just completely fucking busted. It's really hard to judge the game when it's so broken, because everything that happens, you're like, is that intentional? Is it not? There's this weird thing that some enemies can do, that they can sort of like with this like chunky speed sound, they can flip between different stages of cover around you. Sometimes it makes them go in the floor. It's very funny. And I don't know if it's a glitch or not. Like, they just go fume, 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 and it just looks awful. It doesn't look intentional at all, but it's rare enough that I think it is. But like, the enemies that have a lot of like cyber implants and are like supposedly should move like that don't. It's just like every so often there's like a soldier that can do that, you know? There's been enemies that can shoot me through walls when they don't have tech weapons, you know? They just have a normal rifle and they can shoot me through walls. There's lots of things with enemies being able to see you through walls too, and see you through cars especially. If you sever an enemy's head, their eyes follow you. The eyes on the severed head follow you as you walk around. I think I've said the one before. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. I've had like enemies come back to life all the time when their corpse is on the ground. I've had like someone who's like a corpse that's headless is now reeling on the ground with their face their hands on their face, but their face is gone because they don't have a head, and they're just like holding their face, like crying as they sway back and forth. Best glitch I had, there was a quest where I had to go and find, I don't know if this is the best one, but this is the one that came to mind. So there was a quest that I had to go to a motel to find a guy who needed transport, and he had a car outside the motel. So I went to him, and he was in the motel room, and I said, okay, we have to go. And then all of a sudden, like fucking like 4 people just show up outside in the parking lot trying to kill him. Someone said Jaguar. I think it is Jaguar. So I go in, and I stealth around with this guy to get to his car that's on the street outside the motel, and I killed like 2 of the people on the way, and I get outside, and I'm like, oh shit, I want to kill the other 2 because I want the loot. So I turn around and I killed the other 2, and then the NPC that was following me stealth this whole time has now gone back to the motel that is and hanging out on the railing in front of it. He's just standing there and he won't move. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck? So like there's more guys there now, and they're shooting at him, and he's not taking damage. He's just standing there completely just glitched out. I'm like, okay, so I killed the 2 guys, and then I'm like, all right, everyone's dead now. He surely must come to his car, and he doesn't. He's just standing there on the railing. He won't listen to me when I interact with him. So then I'm like, okay, well maybe he'll appear when I get to the car. So I went to his car and I got in the car, and he still doesn't appear. So I'm like, okay, well fuck, what do I do now? Now a Redditor would just reload, but I'm committed to making this work because I want to see what would happen, because I feel like this should work, and I can't remember when I last saved it. So I'm like, fuck it. So I get the car, and I drive it up the stairs in the motel, like, and it gets all the way to the top, and then it's like didn't quite make it, so it slides back down. So I like back up against the wall and just ram it full throttle, get up the stairs in the motel, get to the end of the hallway, turn right, get all the way down to where he is, and start honking the horn next to him, like, look, I've brought the car to you, get in the car. And he wouldn't. He just stood there. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. This is a bust. Like, what happens if I drive away? Well, as I was driving away, I accidentally hit him with the car. So I hit him with the car, and that made him move from his part in the balcony. So he starts walking away. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's walking to where his car is. I've made him move now. I fixed it. So I follow him in the car, and I drive back to where he's supposed to be in the car. And I'm like, okay, he's going to cross the street, get in his car. And he doesn't. So he just starts walking down the street. So I'm like, oh, where's he going? So I just start following him. So he walks for like 5 minutes down the street, and I'm just following him in the car on the street. And then he gets to the sidewalk, and then he just turns around and starts walking the other way. So I'm like, okay, where's he going? So I follow him, and I just keep following him. And I'm like, and then he gets to another part of the street, and then he just stops there too. So then I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to see if I can trigger him in the car. So I start running him over and ramming him with the car, and he's invincible. He doesn't give a shit. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. This is completely broken. If I drive away, maybe he will reset, and then I can come back and get him. So I drive away, and I leave him on the street. And then the quest giver just pops up and is like, I'm really disappointed in UV. Your target that I asked you to help was killed in the motel. And I'm like, no, he fucking wasn't. Quest failed. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. Like, gig closed. So I'm like, okay, I turn around. I'm like, I know he's alive. He's back there. I just saw him on the street. So I turn around in the car, and I gun it back there, and I swear to God, when I get to where he was, I suddenly hear his voice, and he's teleported into the back of the car, and he's like, okay, where are we going? And he's just in the car now, and he's just talking to me, and he's like, all right, fucking, let's go. And I'm like, but I don't know where to take him, because the quest is broken. So I look it up on my phone, where to take him, and I drive him there, and that's when this happened, which I showed last time.
Okay, we're here. Get out.
There he is. Gone.
Welcome to reality.
Here's the best part.
Quangbo thinks your nickname should be the Mad Lioness, so I guess he's happy. Closing the gig, sending you the cred.
And I got success for it. I got the rewards for it. It went along with it. That needs to go in the video present. Yeah, I'll tell the whole story in the video. Yeah, I've already planned to it. There's gonna be like stories of what happens when I'm going around. Yeah. So I don't know. Like on the one hand, it's not fair because like clearly, most people would be like, okay, I need to dial this back. Whereas I'm like, okay, let's see what happens because I want to know what happens. Like I feel like I shouldn't. Like just finding out recently that you can craft things and then you can disassemble the things for more than their crafting cost. So like most people would be like, okay, well that's clearly not intended, I'll leave that alone. But there's so many of it, there's so many items that are like that I'm like, fuck it, let's see what happens if I just keep crafting all this shit. And because I did that, I found like 6 other bugs. So like it's just completely busted. There's an epic sword I have, and whenever I click on the sword to craft it, like every so often its stats change to a different sword. And it's not like it's a random chance and it's like has different stats when you roll it. It's toggling between 2 different kinds of swords, and one has like 300 DPS more than the other one. And there's no notification for it. There's no it's not intentional, clearly. It's just like, okay, this sword has 3 swings per second and this one has 5, and it's like, all right, what the fuck, you know? Like, trying to think some others that aren't spoilers. There was an emotional moment. I can say this because I can say the without the character, and it was in the trailer. So if you've seen the trailer, you know this happens. There was a character that died in a car, and after they died, I got out of the car and I turned around, and their body had clipped through the car onto the roof of the car, and it got worse because then the body started clunking down onto the car like they were like bouncing with the music, like make some noise, and it just kept happening, like just boom, 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 until it went so far that the body actually fell off the car and was like on the street next to it, you know, just ruined. I was driving with Pan Am, and we went to a fight that was actually quite difficult. I don't know why this fight was so difficult, but it was. And I died, and when I reloaded, I was in the driver's seat with Pan Am, so I was like in her head. I could see the back of her eyeballs. I feel like that just the whole thing is glitch. I don't feel like there's any part of the game that doesn't have a major glitch, and just like if I hadn't died, I wouldn't have seen it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's a major glitch everywhere. There must be like a checklist. Do you die and reload? Do you like shoot a gun in the wrong place or something? Like do you switch weapons? You know, there was a part where I couldn't reload the gun anymore. So it was like it turned into like fucking like reloading in GoldenEye 64. The animation wouldn't play, so the gun would just lower below the screen, and then it would just race back up, and the ammo was full. And the time was right for the reload animation. It was just skipping it. This is becoming more and more of a problem as we progress. I think games are getting more ambitious in terms of gameplay systems. I think I like not like crazily ambitious, but I think big studios are trying more stuff now. They're not playing it as safe as they were back in the early 2010s. I like that. I like that they're pushing the envelope a bit and seeing like, okay, what can we do? What can we learn from the creativity that's in indie games? But I feel like games are getting a lot glitchier now, and they're releasing in like more and more rush states. And I think that it's good to document that kind of thing because it's fucking awful, man. You look forward to a game and it's going to come out and it's like, okay, like more and more it's better to be like le patient gamer and wait like 6 months to a year to play every game. Just tolerate it for the first 6 months to a year, and then from then on, you know, you're on your own time, you're on your own timeline. It's like they're new releases for you, you know what I mean? Like it works well. Does anyone have any questions for me about CyberPunk while we're still in like the early pre-stream phase before we start? And I hope it crashes again because that'll just be really funny. So I think someone asked like if all the glitches are fixed, will the game be better? And yeah, it will, but like they need to fix other things too. You playing it because you like it? I'm having an okay time with it still. Like I'm not having a horrible time. I'm pretty bored with most of it, but the most fun I have with the game is just driving around the city. I think the city is like beautiful and just it's like stunning to see, like the buildings and everything. Like the people and the cars, like no, but the actual structure of the city itself, it looks fucking great. How many enemies do you see? I haven't finished it yet. Did you do more stealth bike? Of course I did, yeah. Lots and lots of stealth bike. Best bug? The best recent bug I got was that the game finally crashed on me, and then crashed 5 more times in the same hour. So I've seen 6 crashes because I actually found a vehicle that will chase you. It had chase AI, and for whatever reason, that really glitches out the game. So it finally crashed on me, and I had to like sneak out of that area without starting the chase in order to not have the crash. Sorry, just kind of like brain farted there. But the best bug I found on the weekend were 2. One was that there were multiple parts I found in the city that the vehicles will spawn in the same place no matter what. So I could spawn. I have 6 vehicles at the time that I found it, though. I had 4. I had 2 bikes and 2 cars. And if I spawned the bike and then spawned the car, they would spawn in the same place and just like rocket launch off the street. So I just kept doing that for a while because that was really, really fun. They would go like 200 meters up in the air. Very, very funny. And the craziest glitch I found was that there was a room with, I was talking about this on Discord earlier, there was a room that had a ghost ladder in it, and it was moving. So it was an invisible ghost ladder that was moving around this whole area. And if I just so happened to run into it while it was moving, my character would start going into the ladder climb animation pose, and I could climb up an invisible ladder to the ceiling and then slide down it. And the reason why I know it was a ghost ladder is because it was in a different place every time. Like, it was never in the same place that I found the ghost ladder. Was I recording it? Yep, I was recording it. Yeah, I recorded everything that I've done of the game. Yeah, so that was just like great. Yeah, the ghost ladder. I flipped a bunch of cars, and I learned that if the car is flipped, when the people come out of the car, their animations don't adapt for the fact that the car is flipped, so they just kind of like walk on air for a bit, and then they fall, or they just like spawn on top of the upside down car. There's just lots and lots of things like that, yeah. Ghost ladder ETA for bug video. I'm gonna play it through at least once more to see some different choices and stuff. There's gonna be like a little mini review at the beginning of the bug video as well. Like maybe about 10 minutes of me just talking about the state of the game and reviewing what I think about it. So I need to play it at least more than once for that. But yeah, I'm at almost 90 hours. The other playthroughs are going to be much more streamlined. Like, I'm not going to get distracted by bugs as much. I'm just going to go for it. So yeah. Is there a good game underneath the glitches? Lameo? Hot take, no. Is there a good game underneath all the glitches, and like if they spent time finishing it? Yeah, for sure. There's a very good game underneath that, but it's just not finished. So it's not, you know, it's just. So it's really hard to judge. You know, that's what I'm gonna say in the review portion of the video. It's like reviewing this game right now is a waste of time. Quantum, yeah, there's a lot of quantum shit in the game. Yeah, why would you play CyberPunk for 90 fucking hours? I couldn't play it for like 6 without wanting to die. Hey, it's work, man. That's the job. Are you gonna talk about CyberPunk in the Witcher 3 video? Yeah, a little bit, but not big time. Just some mentions. It's more about updating the script for the Witcher 3 video, because a bunch of stuff I said just doesn't make sense anymore. Not just about like how CD Projekt works, also like stuff like lines where I said like, I wonder if they will do this better in CyberPunk. It's like, well, now I've played it. That line doesn't make sense anymore because the project just took so long, you know? Like, my Witcher video and series is kind of like CyberPunk the game, only I didn't release it before it was done. And that's not like me throwing shade. Like, there's like arguably releasing the game is better. Like, people are out there enjoying it. They can enjoy it as early access once you come to terms with it. So, but yeah, like my project is just as fucking like fucked up and mismanaged as CyberPunk, for sure. All right, so I have 2 CyberPunk gifts. The first is I'm gonna perform a magic trick. Okay, let me mute the PlayStation 4. All right, I'm gonna show you a magic trick, chat. I'm gonna show you car chase AI in Cyberpunk 2077. They said it was impossible. Do. Oh, look, he's in the car. Oh, look. Oh, no, what's he gonna do? Oh, my God. Dun, dun, dun. He's chasing me in the car. He's shooting me. It can happen. It's in there. Do. How far can I take him? How far can I take him? Oh, it's done. Okay. Bum 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 bum. Let's see it again. So this area crashed on me 6 times because of this car chase AI. It's definitely like very buggy. It doesn't like it. I also got the other guy to get into the back seat and also shoot me from the car. So that's in the game too. Like multiple people in a car shooting at you as they're chasing you. So yeah. Cool. And here is the other one. And this one is a glitch. Okay, so brace yourself, because this is arguably the best glitch that I found. I'm not kidding. This is arguably the best glitch that I found. All right, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. I will talk about that area more in depth in the video because that was a fun area. I spent an hour in that area. An hour. I'm not kidding. I was in that area, that little compound, for an hour because of all the glitches that were in there. An hour. I find the glitches so entertaining in 2077 now. Just so entertaining. I don't know, it just makes me think of this idea that glitches could be used as content. Like, I know how stupid that sounds. Maybe it doesn't sound stupid anymore if a lot of you have played 2077. I wonder if there's a way to make a world where the glitches are canon. Like still don't intentionally code them in. Just have like a very glitchy game. Like, how would you make it stable? I don't know. But like CyberPunk, like CD Projekt Red managed to do it. Like, it doesn't crash on me very often. But like that's not everyone's kind of experience. But yeah, I just wonder if you can make them a game out of them in a way. Yeah, I've been messing around a lot. I get distracted by glitches, and I want to figure out how they are, like how they work. I really disagree with this narrative right now that's going around that Cyberpunk 2077 is a 30 to 50 hour game. Like, I guess if you only do the main quests and you barely touch any of the side content and you just drive from objective point to objective point and you don't do anything else, like, I really disagree with that. Like, I haven't finished yet, so I don't know. I can't comment, but like, it doesn't feel that much smaller than Witcher 3 to me. In terms of the amount of content that there is to do. And that's not including like the bullshit in Witcher 3 that is getting all of the smuggler caches in Skellige, which I did because I'm me. But that's more of an analysis thing. I think people don't understand that I do a lot of completion stuff in video games, not for my own enjoyment. I do it for the analysis, you know? Like, if I was playing by myself, playing like Assassin's Creed, when I played Assassin's Creed before I played the before I made videos, I didn't get every feather or every flag or whatever the fuck those are, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't interest me. But when I'm doing a video, there's like playing for my own enjoyment, and then there's like the research phase, which I don't like hold against the game at all when I'm judging it for my own enjoyment. It's like, okay, I just need to know like how much content is there. Like, what if one of those smuggler caches in Witcher 3, there was like just a great side quest hiding in there. Like, you go for the smuggler's cache and then a boat just appears and is like, yar har, we're the pirates of this world and here's a pirate quest. And like, what if that's like one of the best quests in the game? You know what I mean? Like, that it's like that fan art that Marek made about Disco Elysium, you know? Like, what if this random box in the room has some of the best dialogue in the game? You know what I mean? Like, that's important for analysis. It's not so much important for your own enjoyment. But yeah. Isn't it wild CD Projekt Red got so many other fanboys who only played their game in a series? Well, that is linked to the intro of the Witcher 3 video. Witcher 3 is a weird game. Is your Witcher video also going to be bugged like crazy, like all the projects that have been announced for you? Nope. I make that joke in the Cyberpunk video, though. Damn, chat just knows all my plays now. Predicted all my plays.
Good thing the YouTube audience just outnumbers you all, so you know it doesn't matter. I could just say the whole video right here, and it would still be new for most of the YouTube audience, so it's fine. I found this thing out in CyberPunk. Oh, let's buff our way in. In CyberPunk, that if you if a vehicle kills someone instead of you, like it doesn't break your stealth. So like you can rev up like your bike into a camp and just dive off of it. And if the bike, after you dive off the bike keeps going. And if the bike kills the person, not you, it doesn't count as you killing them. So no, there's no reactions to it or anything else like that. And someone on Discord ran someone over with a van, and they got like stealth experience for it while they were in the van. So it's like, as long as you're not on the bike, it doesn't count as like a crime or anything like that. But any kill you get in stealth, apparently, I think it was Top Lolly that found it, actually, was got like a stealth experience for running someone over in a van. I'm pretty sure that when I did that, though, like there was a camp I did that. I did it at a couple of camps that, like, I got off the bike and the bike plowed into one of these two people standing next to each other and just kept going, and I hid behind a crate. And I'm pretty sure that the person blamed the bike and started doing like aggro lines and shooting in the direction of the bike, but it wasn't exactly on the bike. Like they blamed the bike, like they were mad at the bike. The bike was their target. So I'm pretty sure that was it, but maybe they were doing like target practice nearby, and they were just like kind of stuck back in their target practice, but also saying some aggro lines now. I don't know, but it was really funny. I choose to believe that they blamed the bike. Have I played Deus Ex 1? Of course I have, yeah. It's one of my favorite games. I love Deus Ex 1. I talk about Deus Ex 1 a little bit in the Witcher 3 video. I have played Deus Ex 1, I have played Invisible War, unfortunately, and I have also played Human Revolution. I have not played Mankind Divided. I would love to do a video series on all the Deus Ex games, but, you know, Witcher's life, Witcher's hell. There's nothing in here either? See, this is one of the advantages of Deus Ex. This is part of what I talk about in the Witcher 3 video, about how Deus Ex is like the gold standard for rewarding exploration. Deus Ex, because it uses consumables in order to hack things and to like lockpick. You know, your lockpicks break and everything. You need a certain amount of lockpicks to get through doors and shit. Like, in addition to just the amazing reward of finding an augment canister, like has probably the most rewarding exploration of any game I've ever played. In terms of like literal rewards. It's just so good to just explore every nook and cranny and find something in Deus Ex. Like, it's really are rewarded for combing over the areas. Whereas in this, like, it's just like, you go into a room and usually there's nothing in there because there's nothing they can really give you in there, you know? So in a way, the frustration that you may feel like, oh, why do my lockpicks break and all this other shit, like it enhances the exploration by quite a lot. I think that the original Deus Ex does exploration better than Human Revolution in terms of rewards. Although Human Revolution is fairly decent about it too. I feel like Human Revolution needed one more area, which is a pretty good complaint to have if your complaint about the game is, I wish it had more content, right? Oh, is that like a missing thing in the wall? All right, so this is my new pet peeve in games. I notice this all the time. It's all over Fallout 76, and now it's all over Cyberpunk, is when the pieces of the level aren't overlapping properly. There's like a tiny minuscule gap between the pieces, and the light will seep through from the outside. And sometimes it's fine. Like this is like a tame example, but like in Cyberpunk, if it's enough that the inside area is now outside, it just fucks the lighting up completely. The lighting is just completely fucked for the whole level. It's so dark inside, and in the future in Cyberpunk, no one has a flashlight, so you can't see shit. It's all over Cyberpunk. Just one of the many ways that it's like Fallout 76. What do you think about this Cyberpunk 2077 story as a former writer, without spoilers? Well, as a former writer, my opinion is fucking meaningless. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't really matter. Just like as someone who enjoys stories, I same thing for almost all of Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red's, I almost said Cyberpunk Red's, CD Projekt Red stuff. I say this in the Witcher 3 video, it's kind of a big point for the Witcher 3 criticisms that I have, that I think CD Projekt Red is very, 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 very good, one of the best in the industry.
at dialogue writing and character writing, and character writing is typically dialogue writing for the most part. You know, there's different types of writing. When people are saying like good writing, there's dialogue writing, there's characterization, there's prose, there's plot. You know, there's different forms of writing, and everyone knows this, but sometimes it's not laid out like that. And of course, I spend 2.5 hours laying it out in the Witcher 3 video. Just kidding, much longer than that. So like it's like I feel like CD Projekt Red is just amazing and incredible at characterization and dialogue writing. They're just so good at it. Oh, we're in like an actual hard part of the game now. Atom Smasher, yeah. But they're not very good at plot writing. They're not very good at that sort of thing. Like they have gotten some good plots. Like Witcher 1's plot is very, very good. Hearts of Stone is very, very good for plot-wise. Blood and Wine, better than the Witcher 3 base, but you know, like Witcher 2's main story and plot is pretty good, but it's really just building off of the books, you know, like in a very, very like clever way and a very respectful way. But when you really boil down Witcher 2's plot, like as interesting as it is, I feel like a lot of the interest just comes by how many moving parts it has and how complicated it is. It's not really all that satisfying when you really look at it. I don't know. Sometimes I think of the part that I talk about at the end of the Witcher 2 video, if I'm projecting a little bit on it, but it's okay. Like that's an interesting interpretation for me. You know, I thought of it, so yeah.
You can win this. Do your best.
But CyberPunk is the exact same way. CyberPunk has very good characters, very good dialogue writing. Like not always, but you know, it probably has. Yeah, Witcher 1 is so early on, but it still has some decent dialogue writing here and there. I'd say it has the second worst dialogue writing of overall of their games, because even though 4 more, rare card 4 more. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying to play the game and losing my train of thought here. So an example is that very early on in the game, for the corpo route that we saw when we streamed it, there's a part where a character actually has to blatantly say, you know, I'm giving you paper money. Paper money can't be traced. You know, like that is painfully bad dialogue writing. Like that is just so far beneath CD Projekt standard that it's stunning to me that got through, and it just shows that it was rushed and it didn't have time to be properly looked over. Like I cannot believe that is still in the game, you know. But and on the flip side, there's some really great character dialogue writing from all the side characters like Judy and River and whatever the fuck her name is with the nomads. That's gonna make someone angry, isn't it? But like and even Keanu, you know what I mean? Like so like it's not all bad, you know. It has a very high variance, but the story is kind of a waste of time, unfortunately. A Witcher uses 2 swords, and in the books he mostly only uses 1. It's very, very rare that any Witcher uses a silver sword in the books. Even against monsters? Even against monsters, yep. Iron and steel works just fine against monsters in the books. It's very specific, the kind of monsters that need silver. The importance of a silver sword for monsters is primarily a video game creation for the gaming series, which I think is good. I like the switching between them. You almost got me talking about Witcher again. You almost got me monologuing. God, I hate those very hard difficulties. Mostly are bullshit. Yeah, usually if there's 4 difficulty options, like easy, normal, hard, very hard. Hard is usually the best one. Very hard is usually not balanced very well. There's a lot of added health to enemies and shit. And then there's games like Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 where it literally doesn't fucking matter. So just pick whatever you want. It literally doesn't matter. Do you think that Cyberpunk will ever be in a state where it is worth buying without a huge discount? Depends on what kind of game you like. I think Cyberpunk, having played Cyberpunk for like over 200 hours now, I think that Cyberpunk 2077 is not a bad game. That's my hot take. It's not a bad game. It's just not a great game either. It's not revolutionary. It's not great. But it's not bad. Like if you enjoy games like Fallout 4, even Deus Ex, if you really enjoyed Witcher 3, on a sale, definitely it's worth it, especially if you can wait for some more patches to fix some of their shit. You know, like I think you could have an enjoyable time, especially now if your expectations have been set downward.
the main problem that I had with it is that when I played it, I did all of the worst content first, and then I did the good content that was kind of waiting at the end. So basically how I played it, I've done 3 playthroughs. On my first playthrough, I did all the side content as it came up, because I didn't know how the game worked and I wanted to see everything it had, and also I wanted to level up, and I was kind of enjoying the progression of clearing the map. So I did everything, like, so all of the side content, all of the side contracts, the side gigs, like all that shit. And that is just the worst content in the game. Like, it's just absolute shit. Some of them are better than others. Like, there are some like side mission tier shit hiding in those side jobs, but they're still the worst side missions in the game. And the opening of the game isn't really that great either. There's some pretty shit writing in some of the origin stories that kind of is kind of off-putting. But toward the end of the game, at least the way I played it, there are a lot of side missions that spin off of the main content. So it's kind of disingenuous to call them side quests when really they're just kind of like main quests that are optional. They even tie into the endings of the game. Witcher 3 does this too. Anything in Witcher 3 that is a side mission that spins off of a character from the main quest, it just really feels like, okay, this was meant to be a main quest, but we couldn't really figure out a way to make it so it was compulsory. So you can do it if you want, but you don't have to. That's the best content in Witcher 3, and that's the best content in Cyberpunk 2077 as well. So if you just do that, I think you'd have a pretty good time with it. It's also where the game is the least buggy, but it is buggy over like everywhere still, like absolutely. It's not bad. It's not bad. I like the endings of 2077. I've seen all of them. I was surprised by how much I liked them. I didn't love them. I just thought, oh, you know, I won't spoil it or anything like that. But I was like, oh, this was actually pretty good. I was surprised. So I don't know. I feel like the back like third of 2077 ended up being the best part for me. So it was kind of like this really long stretch of, wow, this sucks, and then, you know what, it's okay. You know what I mean? How many of those 200 hours of Cyberpunk were searching for bugs and glitches in the video? A lot of them, yeah. There were many dozens of hours where I just got distracted by bugs. It's a very difficult game for me to play, because I get so distracted and trying to figure out how something works, and why is that bug happening? Why did these robots just fall randomly from the sky? Why is my car on that roof? Why is my car in the air? Why is my car under the street and keeps falling down for 200 feet and then teleports back up to the street, dips up like a street shark, and then falls down again? You know, just a never-ending list of shit like that. That, like, it's so mentally taxing and draining just to play that game, because it's just like, oh my god, like, did you watch the Fallout 76 video I did where I say that there are these blink and you'll miss it parts, and it just kind of like takes a little bit of your mental process to be like, wait, what was that? You know, like if you've seen Fight Club, where it's like, you know, you don't know that you saw it, but you did, and your brain still processed it. It's like that. It's just like there's so much shit in Cyberpunk that just is like, wait, what just happened there? And it just kind of fucks with me, and it's just so draining to play that game. In what ways does difficulty not matter in The Witcher? The only thing that matters in Witcher is your level. That's it. Witcher 3, apart from the DLC is when it finally starts to matter. I beat Witcher 3 on Death March difficulty naked with the starter swords. So, and I didn't upgrade them either. I think I added runes to them, and that's it. And like, all that matters is your level. That's it. That's it. Nothing else matters. It's only in Blood and Wine, and to some extent a little bit in Hearts of Stone, that it finally starts to catch up. But yeah, like, your level is the only thing that matters. Not even perks. Have you ever heard the saying that games like Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk are not RPGs, or RPGs only in the name? Do you agree with that idea? What is a true RPG for you? RPG is a dead term to me. I don't think RPGs really exist anymore. Like, if you're talking about like, oh, you're playing a role in a story, well, that's pretty much every game now. Because before it was like RPGs were the only games that really had in-depth stories that you could really sink into, and that's so many games now have that. And now it's like RPGs are like with stats and mana, hit points and shit level up. Well, a lot of games have that too. So I don't know where I would say an RPG even is anymore. You could probably nail it down, but genres are kind of dumb. Regarding difficulty scaling in open world games, would you prefer a game that transforms areas while progressing in the open world, even if you had not found said area yet? Forgotten Crossroads to a bigger extent. No, but I wouldn't. That would increase replayability. It depends on the game. Not really. Some people have
even though I put it in all caps, stretching across the screen, optional in the video, some people don't realize what I was saying there, and you know, like, it's fine if you don't want level scaling. You know, there's been this big, huge backlash to that point. I say huge. Why do I exaggerate like that when I'm on stream? It's been one of the biggest disagreements in the video. Let's put it that way. And so it feels like a bigger disagreement than it actually is, because I see it a lot when I scroll through the comments, you know. I definitely understand why some people would like to be able to get stronger and just steamroll an area. Like that's the common argument, is that that's a perk of RPGs, is being able to just come back later and just be a god, and they like that and they don't want it to be taken away. And I 100% see where they're coming from. That's why I would like it to be like an optional thing in the menu, so I can still have that experience and scale up. But even I'm not really that happy with scaling. Like I say in the video, I think once or twice that I don't think these ideas are particularly great, and I don't know if there is a really good idea. But in the Witcher 3 video, I talk about a similar issue. So Witcher 3 does have a scaling option. But it's bad because, for two reasons. The first is that when you scale up things in Witcher 3, they still don't give experience. So if something is below you in level enough in Witcher 3, when you kill it, it literally gives you 0 experience. It doesn't give you 1, it gives you literally 0. So you are scaling. So when you scale things up to your level, it still gives you 0 experience, because it thinks you are, because it remembers what it should be in the area. So you are scaling it up for no reward, for no reason. Now, that would be good still, though, if the combat was good, but it's not. So you're making things like a sponge, like a HP sponge, for nothing. Like, it's not like making it harder makes it more fun. It isn't. So if they didn't scale the rewards up in Elden Ring, I would still be like, yeah, this is still pretty good, though, because, hey, the combat's good and I like struggling against the enemies. But I would still probably like them if they were if they gave better rewards too. But I still don't know if that's the best way to do it. But in the Witcher 3 video, I also talk about how the idea of just removing all the leveling stuff at all, and that could work for Witcher 3, because Witcher 3, when you level up in Witcher 3, you don't really get that much more powerful. Like, your gear is the big source of stuff in Witcher 3. Now, you do get more powerful when you level up because of level scaling differences, and I talk about that a lot in the video. But in terms of actual, like your life and your attack damage and everything, it actually doesn't level up that much. When you level up, you don't get that much more powerful in terms of like raw stats. So Witcher 3 is actually like a really good example of a game that didn't need levels in terms of power level. Like the whole game, like all the bears could have been the same power, and it would have been fine to balance it around that. And all the soldiers are the same power, and it would have been fine to balance around that, and it would have been fine the whole game pretty much. Whereas Elden Ring, you can't really do that, because some people suggested that in the comments too, and I don't really agree, although I would like to see it done just to see if I'm wrong, because I could be. Would be like, could you get away in Elden Ring of, this is just the power level of this zone and that's just how it is, and it's always kind of a challenge. Because even when you go back to like Undead Burg in Dark Souls 1, like, you just face roll it, man. Like, it's a raffle stomp. So even in that game, which has a much tighter band of power, if you don't respect them, they can still take you down. Like, if 4 hollows surround you in Undead Burg, even when you've like cleared like a couple of the zones, they can still kill you. But like, getting into that position is like just insane. Like, you're not, like, how bad do you have to mess up to get into that? So I don't know. Did you know there's a Witcher 3 overhaul mod that removes leveling? Of course I do. Of course I do. Dude, like, how long ago was it? Like, maybe 2-3 years ago, I was like on Nexus mods, looking at all the mods on The Witcher 3, just staring at the abyss, like with my finger on the mouse ready to download, going, do I really want to add that to the video? Do I really want to go down this pit of also I played the game twice more with mods on? And I was like, no, I have to cut it somewhere, and I didn't do it. So like, I know about that. I know there's a Witcher 3 Enhanced Edition that I think was even made by someone who worked on the game, right? Like an actual dev that worked on Witcher 3, like, did something. And I remember reading through it, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy probably is going to do a bunch of balance changes that are going to be really good. I'm really interested in trying this. And then the patch note below it was increased falling damage. So I was like, nope. Nope. Nope, not doing that shit. Nope, I'm good. Nope, fuck you. You increased falling damage? You increased falling damage. What? Like, nope, I'm good. So, I didn't do that. So that was one of the reasons. Who the fuck wants that? Did you enjoy the Witcher books? So yeah, I did. Sorry, the Witcher books in my mind are like separate from everything else. It's like I've quarantined all of the Witcher experiences in my head. The Witcher books are probably better than the Robin Hobb books, but the Robin Hobb books are more special to me. But the Witcher books are excellent because they're paced so well. But Sapkowski, sorry, kind of falls into the similar Lord of the Rings trap in the 5-book series where it almost feels like he's parodying it. So Sapkowski likes to do this thing called the retelling. He says this in interviews. You know, that's why his use of certain monster tropes and elves and everything is like really on point when it comes to like subverting your expectations when it comes to using those. Like he just says it outright that's what he likes to do. And there's a moment in the book series, I think it's in book 3, where it really feels like he's just retelling Fellowship of the Ring, and making fun of it. And I really like that. But then after that, it just becomes Lord of the Rings for a little bit, and I'm just like really, I'm just like staring at the page, like really, like we're doing this shit. Like, do you guys know Tom Cardy, the guy who's like, have you checked your butthole? The guy who does that song. I love this guy's songs. You guys know Tom Cardy? He has a song about Lord of the Rings, and it's a music video where he is Tolkien pitching Lord of the Rings to a publishing house, and he's like, you know, it's about a magic ring, and they go on a quest, and they're like, what happens next? And he's like, they walk, and he just says that all along. Okay, that's fucking like almost half of the Witcher saga when it becomes a serialized story, and he just is just staring at, just like really, like, I thought you were above this, dude. Like the first 2 books you did were so good with this like kind of fragmented, shattered glimpses of this world, and then you started writing a series of novels, and it started off okay, and then you get to like at the end of book 2 or halfway through book 3 or something, it's, and they walk. Oh no, a fight on a bridge. Walk. You know, like fucking get drunk on dandelion wine. Walk. Just fucking hell. Like, just get to the point, you know? I don't like it. I don't really like it when fantasy writers meander like that. I know some do, but yeah. Just woke up from the dream where the Witcher 3 video released and it starts with you singing. Is this true? No. Best girl in Witcher 3? For me or for Geralt? How's that for a weeb answer? Best girl for Geralt is Yennefer. Best girl for me is Anna Henrietta. Nah, probably Shani for me. I like Shani. I like Ciri too, but she's a little bit of a no, she's not actually. I was gonna say she's a little bit of a like Mary Sue kind of character, but she's not. She's just she kind of comes across a little strong early on in Witcher 3. Shani Arise? Shani. Someone's asking me if there was a game I changed my mind halfway on. Witcher 1? Is that really halfway? If we can be more generous with how we're approaching the question and saying that, are there any games that you changed your opinion on significantly as you played them, then yeah, the Witcher games for sure. Witcher 1 and 2, Witcher 1 and 3, not so much Witcher 2. CyberPunk was a very interesting playthrough for me. I really enjoyed my time with CyberPunk, but I enjoyed it for the wrong reasons. So I'm hoping that when the patches are all done and the DLC comes out, that I'll finally hit rank 10 Confidant with CD Projekt, and now I'll be enjoying it for the right reasons. But yeah, I enjoyed that for the wrong reasons for sure. Like, the way I broke that game was just, it was so entertaining. So basically Fallen Order 2.0. Yeah, kinda, but like even more than that. If Saya was a confidant or did the confidant thing for CD Projekt, what would she say after she slapped the table? It would crash. The table would break. This is one of the biggest points. One of the biggest points I make early on in the Witcher 3 video that I kind of don't return to enough, I think. There you go, something else to fix. Is that Cyberpunk 2077 is pretty much par for the course for CD Projekt, and
The posers who think that they're just absolutely fantastic because they only played Witcher 3 don't really understand that. But even Witcher 3 was kind of a mess when, you know, it's still kind of a mess actually, but like when it first launched, I'm guessing it was even worse. Like I had a very glitchy time with Witcher 3. I love CDPR Writers. I love their games. To some extent, I even love 2077. Like I really did enjoy my time with it, and it does a lot of cool things. It's just it also does a lot of bad things, and it wasn't finished. But like seriously, that is pretty much par for the course for them. Witcher 1 and 2 were worse than 2077 when they launched. How do you think a developer could make a good system that would have meaningful choices and progression and could carry over into its sequels? Would they need to completely alienate new players, or is there a way to have choices that don't feel empty by importing a save? So in the Witcher 3 video, God, I can answer so many questions with that. In the Witcher 3 video, I have a section where I say that developers should just stop doing this. So I like I like having choices in games, and I think that they should continue to happen. But it's too much work to make them meaningful while also having meaningful changes going forward in sequels. That I would just like to just allow developers to just be able to have meaningful choices and then just pick a canon set for the sequels after that. Just go with whatever everyone picked the most, or something along those lines. I don't know. Just something. And that way they can still have some choices carry forward and not have to just obliterate all choices. We don't have the I don't know why I tried. I know I don't have it, but you know. So I don't think it's a good position that they're in right now. The answer to the answer to your question is just eating shit. Like the amount of work that you would have to do to make it meaningful while also having the choices is unreal. So yeah, just eating shit. What? Okay, is eating shit in the way I'm using it not a common term? Eating shit in the way I am is that eating shit means doing a lot of work? No? That's a new low. CyberPunk story better than Witcher 3 story? Fight me. True! True. Oh, it's so true. So, that's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, it's pretty true. Will you cover Gwent in the Witcher 3 video? Can you briefly say how you feel about it now? Just curious. I hate it. Sure, I can tell you a little bit. I do cover it, but not nearly as much as you might think. I talk about Gwent with Thronebreaker. And I basically say that for as much as it's celebrated as a great inclusion of gameplay or whatever, it's too easily solved. So it has this issue of I don't know if it's because I played a lot of Hearthstone and I just immediately understood that card draw is just completely bullshit overpowered for the system that they have. But like I figured out the best strategy to win in White Orchard, and it just became a non-mechanic for the whole entire rest of the game. It was just like, okay, just play spy cards and you win. So it just wasn't developed all that much, I think. Is the book section of Witcher 3 video something I can skip if I don't want spoilers? No, not really. The books are somewhat important for some of the points about the game. So you won't be able to avoid everything or understand everything. Favorite boss fight in Witcher 3? The last one in Blood and Wine, I think. Thoughts on Witcher Season 2? I enjoyed it, but it is not the books at all. Completely different. But I still enjoyed it. There are some parts of it that are like, But everyone complaining that Yennefer acts out of character compared to how she is in the books, I don't really agree as much. And she also acts way more out of character in Witcher 3 than she does in Witcher 2. In Witcher Season 2. So, yeah. That's kind of awkward, Witcher 3 lovers. Witcher 3 yen is better than Witcher books yen. Oh, man. Can we ban you? Is there a game in which the gameplay is really bad, but you still play because you love the story? Persona 5? Probably an RPG kind of like that. I'm having trouble thinking of one right now, though. Literally every Witcher game. Witcher 1 and 2, yeah. Witcher 3, I'm currently playing The Witcher 2 and I'm planning on replaying Witcher 3. Should I read the books before playing Witcher 3? If you want to, if you love the Witcher stuff, then sure, go for it. I would say watch the show, but the show is completely different, so that's not really going to get you there. But like, if you love that shit, then go for it. It is kind of like learning another language, and seeing a bunch of like stuff that you never knew were there, all the references and stuff. I say that in the Witcher 3 video. There you go. There's a leak on page 9, I think, pretty early on. Page 9, I say that. Why do you hate elves so bad? Well, I hate the elves in the Witcher series for very serious reasons that I won't go into because of spoilers. I don't really like elves in other fiction, though, because they're just kind of like too, like, hoity-toity, kind of boring. But that's not... Hate's too strong of a word for, like, Lord of the Rings elves and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, if I have to choose, I'm on Team Dwarf. But, like, I'm not really that keen on dwarves either. It's just that elves are just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Do you think the Witcher 3 ending was rushed? Because I felt like that when arriving. Yeah, it's pretty. Oh, you mean rushed in terms of pacing, not rushed in terms of development? Yeah, I think it was pretty rushed. Yeah, especially considering that before that moment the game really meanders. So it would have been better if they smoothed that out to make it more of an average experience in terms of pacing over the two sides or the two halves of the game. Yeah. Was requesting all end-of-life Vandalay robotics to be brought to production and used for scrap to make new models, even the tech that we're still using. Not sure why, since they work fine, but apparently this is coming from Kale himself. But I don't ask the questions, I just write the notices. Also, it should be noted that my series is also due to be scrapped. So I guess this is a goodbye. I'm writing this from a conveyor belt, so I just wanted the commentary on video game notes. I love it. I love it. There's one in Witcher 3 where the guy is like as you're reading it, you realize he's like writing this note like while he's bleeding to death in a haystack that he's hiding from people that are chasing him. He's like, this may be my final note. I'm like, how are you writing this? Like in your fucking book, you have like a little candle in the haystack where you're like, I hope they don't find my blood trail. Oh no, but the treasure. Like what the fuck are you doing, Witcher 3? Do you think they could make a Witcher game where you play as Ciri work? Would a sequel essentially setting on a single Witcher 3 ending be okay with you? I talk about this in the Witcher 3 video, the latter point. Yes, absolutely, yeah, for sure. Would a game built on Ciri work? I think not. So, book Ciri is a very different character than video game Ciri. Video game Ciri, sure, but toward the end of the game, you get hints that she still is book Ciri. It's just that there were limitations on what they were willing to show or could show. So, if you want actual full power Ciri, there's no fucking way you can make a game out of that. There's just she's just way too strong. Like there's no conflict. There's literally nothing you can do with this character unless you're nerfing her to the point that she's not even Ciri anymore. You know. So it wouldn't be that interesting. Could you make it work? Probably, but nah, I'm skeptical that it would be all that satisfying, and they should just do something else instead. I think you could have another game with Geralt. I think making your own Witcher would be pretty good. I think a game set in the past would be really fun when Witchers were just being first created. I think that would be a very compelling kind of setting, but I have a feeling they wouldn't pull it off properly, and it would just feel more of just the same of Witcher 3, whereas the world back then was a very more dangerous, harsh place, so it wouldn't really pay off. I think a management game in the Witcher universe would be fun, where you are trying to like rebuild Kaer Morhen or rebuild like your own Witcher school, and you have to like send Witchers out and they bring back money and everything, and you are like training the new ones. I think that would be really fun. But I don't know. I'm interested in where they go next for sure. Would a Vesemir Witcher game work? Hot take. I don't really give a fuck about Vesemir. Like, he's fine. Like, yeah. Didn't they already kind of do that in one of the Netflix shows, though? Like, one of the anime Netflix shows, they went back and showed, like, Vesemir the younger years. I haven't watched it. Like, he's alright. It's just, he's not that interesting to me. Another one of writing advice that you will find a lot of writers, very, very famous writers, disagree with is write what you know, okay? And I say this in the Witcher 2 video, and I have a note on the screen that says writing is very complicated, blah, 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 blah. I didn't have time to get into it, even though that video is 5 hours long. Write what you know is very misunderstood. If you write what you know, you're going to have a very limited kind of framework. You should definitely research as much as you can and broaden your horizons, but I think it would be more accurate to say write about what you're interested in, and you will have more success with that. And if you're genuinely interested in it, then you will be able to find out more about it quite easily.
And write what you know is usually when something gets very technical. So if you are writing what you know and it turns out that you are writing about a character who's a surgeon and you don't know how to be a surgeon, then maybe don't fucking describe anything that goes into the surgery parts and just allude to it instead, you know? Or unless you have time to go and shadow a fucking surgeon for a couple months, just don't do it. So the other thing to do in nonfiction writing is that, especially when you're making scripts and videos like mine, is evidence and examples are really, really important. I probably go overboard with them, but my primary purpose with videos is to not be entertaining. It's to make my point and support my point. Although I will say in some of my most successful videos, I do that the least, and people seem to respond to it. So maybe I should stop doing it. I think I did a really good balance with it in Elden Ring, and that was born out of trying to be faster. So maybe the limitation there ended up being a good thing, and I didn't like overcrowd it with examples like I did in some other videos. But I really, really like how many examples I had in the Odyssey video, and I knew that I had to be air fucking tight with that one. So sometimes it is appropriate, and when I go back and watch the Odyssey video, I'm fine with it. So I still like it. So it depends. Whereas in fiction writing, you really don't want to do that, and you only want to say what's important. You don't have to take like Chekhov's gun kind of thing to its extreme. No. You can have some flavor text in there and some useless things that don't come back later. But you do want to trim it down to that you're not going overboard with it. Sorry, I'm kind of repeating myself now. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm kind of tired. If you've listened to my videos or listened to me talk here, I don't know, how do I come across in streams compared to the videos? I don't know. Sometimes I can waffle on here for sure, but maybe I'm more direct here than I am with answering questions than I am on videos. I don't know. But if you've ever watched my videos and listened to me go overboard with examples, you might be surprised if you went and read my fiction and found that it's very direct. My style in creative writing is possibly too succinct. Like whoa, my screen just fucked up over there. I'm probably too brief in a lot of descriptions that I go through, especially when it comes to fantasy, because I hate that in fantasy books. I go very, very go through the plot as quickly as I can, and I don't want to. And wasting your time is something I'm very, very aware of. Whereas in the videos, I'm like, I could probably waste a little bit of your time if it makes my point have more evidence and support for it. In my opinion, fiction writing feelings before facts. Do you have any strong opinions on about the hero's journey in writing? Oh, don't try and pass this off as an innocent question. You know what you're doing. You'll know too much about that soon. Don't worry. Would you agree with me that the vertical leveling system shouldn't exist in Witcher 3? It breaks the story, world building, economy, and they already have viable progress barriers and contingencies for different play order. Oh man, you're gonna love the video. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Do you think that Cyberpunk's open world format could have been done in a way to actually complement this game's story instead of clash with it? Yeah, of course. Is it the Cyberpunk script or the Witcher 3 script that I say this in? It's the Witcher 3 script. It feels like, it's spoilers for the Witcher 3 video, it feels like a lot of open world devs have bought into like a joke of how fucking stupid they can make the main story conflict in their open world games clash with the format. You know, like Fallout 4, I need to find my baby, but no, I'm going to build a settlement, and now I have to help Preston Gravy, and oh no, I have to go do this now, and oh man, look, a new facility I haven't gone into, and ooh, bobblehead. And then and then you have just so many different open world games that have that same kind of urgency in the story. Witcher 3 does it as well, and then Cyberpunk goes even further with it, you know, like it's just like even more of a pressing concern, and it's like, no, I'm gonna go and do this job for you, and I'm gonna go here and just hang out for a bit, you know, like it seems like they're in an arms race to see who could just make the stupidest fucking main story that clashes with how you just want to wander around an open world. So is there a way to do it? Yeah, for sure. So restating lines that have previously been said in a story or in like a previous part of the story is undoubtedly cheesy, but sometimes cheese works. Okay? Like, also a line from the Witcher 3 script. Sometimes cheese works. Like, it really does. And I like it. I don't always like it, but I liked it there. I will have as a general rule of thumb that the more time that has passed since the line has been restated from its original statement, the better. Like, it was way more cheesy when Kratos said the form nature line back at Brock, like within 5 seconds of Brock initially stating it. You know, it was way more cheesy there, and it still worked. It was like, yeah, it's okay, but like this one, there was a long time passed. I like it. Hi Joe, I really like Chrono Trigger. I was wondering if you played it before. What game's that? Are you going to update your WordPress page at some point? Last thing in it is the Hob video and script from 2017. So the scripts went over to Patreon, but they weren't pay gated. I don't think. No, they weren't pay gated. The scripts went over there instead of on the WordPress, because if I remember correctly, the scripts were getting so long that they could not go on the WordPress. The scripts were also getting so long that they couldn't really go on Patreon either at some point, and now the Patreon's gone, so I don't know if the scripts are ever going to go up online somewhere. If I have time, I'll look into setting up something like that. Script for the Witcher 3 video is well over 100,000 words. Just the Witcher 3 part. I think the Witcher 3 script is longer than Catch-22. Just fucking insane. What's the runtime last you check? It is between 10 and 12 hours, and that's all I will say on it. If you watched it on ×2 speed, it would still take you longer to finish than if you watched the Witcher 2 video on normal speed. Would you agree that CD Projekt Red has the best writers in the biz? They have some of the best writers in the biz for sure, especially when it comes to traditional games. But like, they don't have the best written game. The best written game is Disco Elysium. CD Projekt Red, even Cyberpunk 2077 has excellent dialogue writing, and they understand how to use quiet moments probably better than any other developer, including Naughty Dog. Although Naughty Dog is pretty good at it too. Since Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red really understands that. Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk have pretty good use of like downtime. I think they understand pacing better. I'm studying psychology. Are you interested in that field? Some people like to call it pseudoscience. Do they? Isn't a lot of like psychology in the past that's like debunked as pseudoscience? Like most of Freud, a little bit of Jung. I speak a little bit about this in the Witcher 3 video. I could probably say that for anything. It's so long. I touch on all aspects of life in the Witcher 3 video. Anybody want to talk about BDSM? I talk about it a little bit in the Witcher 3 video. I talk about it because I go on a very, 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 very long rant about the hero's journey. And in the hero's journey, the hero of 1,000 faces, Campbell uses Jungian and Freud psychology to support his arguments, and I think they're just completely horseshit. So I talk about it a little bit. What's the third word of the Witcher 3 video? 3. I wonder if you can guess the first two. Good luck solving that mystery. It's out. This is it. This is the Witcher 3 video. I am the Witcher 3 video. I am the Iron Man. I say that. I actually say that in the Witcher 3 video. I actually do say I am the Iron Man in the Witcher 3 video. Oh man, alright. What is the 5th word of the Witcher 3 video? Hunt. You probably answered this already, but how many times you play Witcher 3 now? All the way through. It's kind of hard to know because I've like had to reload and saves and shit at least 3 times. I played Blood and Wine a lot because of all the different paths and changes you can make. Blood and Wine is kind of like Witcher 2 for that. I think I did one where I had to, like, I did all the different ways that you could do the main quests too. Like, you can do Velen, then Novigrad, then Skellige. That's the order you're supposed to do it in. But I did them all, like, to see what would happen, you know, because I wanted to pull it apart, and it doesn't survive all that well actually. If you do Skellige and Velen, doing Novigrad is insane. for what Yennefer and Geralt know at that point in the story. Like it's actually insane that he goes to Novigrad after doing Velen and Skellige in either order. Cyberpunk better than base Witcher rate, my opinion, please. See, I didn't play Witcher 3 at release, so I can't fully agree with that. I want to agree with it. I think that a lot of parts of Cyberpunk 2077 are really impressive, and it got a bit of a bad rap, but it's definitely deserved because they should have just delayed it for a while longer and really polished it up and got rid of all the bugs. But at the same time, I speak about this in the Witcher 3 video, like Cyberpunk 2077 being buggy as fuck at launch was par for the fucking course of CD Projekt. It wasn't new. So I feel kind of bad for them at the same time. Witcher 2 was unplayable on launch. It's crazy to me that people expect to work the CD Projekt Red game on. Yeah, Witcher 1 was really bad too at launch. I didn't play Witcher 3 at launch, but Witcher 3 is still buggy now. Like today, if you played it now, it's buggy. Like almost as buggy as Fallout 4 buggy. Like I had NPCs just floating in the air when I was playing Witcher 3, you know? Like, so I can't imagine what it must have been like at launch. Someone can die early on in Witcher 3, and they can come back in a scene later, and they'll just be hanging out at the table in the background being like, huh, remember me? And it'd be like, wait, you died. How are you here? It's hilarious. Did you see the snow?
Did you see the freak snowfall yesterday? I was riveted by that weird snow flurry yesterday. I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
Okay, so see there, those two lines of dialogue were written and then like performed without the two people being, you know, in communication with each other. You know, video games are getting much better at that sort of thing, but they're still not all the way there yet. A game that does it actually pretty excellently for the most part is Witcher 3. Witcher 3 does it really, really well, and Bethesda could learn a lot about how to construct dialogue trees and with multiple branching paths that loop back to a normal like a main thread throughout them all. There's a lot of repeated information and dialogue lines like being almost the exact same thing paraphrased over multiple instances in Bethesda games and a lot of open world games. Witcher 3 does it really, really well. I can't remember if Cyberpunk does it as well. Cyberpunk I think does, but maybe not quite as good as Witcher 3. I can't remember now. I wasn't really paying attention to that much in Cyberpunk. When are you going to do a video on why decision-based storytelling is bad and undermines the impact of a lot of stories? That is your opinion, right? I speak about that in the Witcher 3 video. Like, no shit, I do. I really, really do. I possibly don't get into it as much as you would like me to, but yeah, I do speak about that. I think someone just asked, do I just not like the elves in the Witcher universe? Am I okay with other elves in other media? I mean, before reading the Witcher books, I was pretty neutral on elves, maybe neutral to negative. Like, I've always found elves in Lord of the Rings to be kind of snooty and kind of like, you know? So I talk about this at great length in the Witcher 3 video, actually. And by great length, I mean, like, I don't know, for a couple minutes. Most races in fiction are human butts. That's exactly how I say it too. Human butts is a joke. So human butts. So they're humans, but they have this exaggerated trait of humans. It is exceedingly rare that you will find any race in any fiction that isn't that. And you could probably make a strong argument that it's just outright impossible in the same way that you can't really imagine a new primary color. That you can't really imagine any race of people that isn't got some sort of human in them, because you are a human, and any human that imagines something is going to have, it carries with them the limits of human imagination, you know what I mean? So in most media, well, I shouldn't say most, because it's probably been a lot since then, but from Lord of the Rings and the writers that usually kind of like copy Lord of the Rings, elves are humans but better. That's what they are. That's the but. Humans but better. Like Klingons in Star Trek are humans but very warlike, very aggressive. It's that part of humans spawn into a whole entire race. It's kind of fucked up, actually. Elves are usually humans but better. That doesn't mean they're perfect, but they're better. You know, they're a lot more in tune with their environment. They usually care a lot more about that. They're not really all that warlike. They're more defensive. They can still be very, you know, martial in how they do things, but they're usually a lot more wise, you know what I mean? Witcher elves are humans but worse. Like, there's an interview with Sokovsky where he just lays the cards out on the table, and he's like, look, most of the stuff that he did in the Witcher books were just the art of retelling, where he just took a lot of things that were done already, and he just retold it in his own way, usually with a subversion. So you have a lot of fairy tales that are subverted. You have a lot of races that are subverted that are come from different parts of different books. There's a part in oh god, is it the third book? Well, it's not the third book. It's like the Persona series. There's like it starts at Persona 3. So there's the 2 short story books, and then there's the 5-part saga, and I think it's the second book in the 5-part saga or the third part of the 5-part saga, where there is a scene that just is like the forming of the Fellowship from the Fellowship of the Ring, but instead of this being this really like oh my god, like this is such a pompous ceremony and my axe or whatever. It's just the Geralt sitting around a campfire with a bunch of people while they're eating fish, I think, and them all going like, well, we're not going to let you go on your own, and you're not leaving without us. And Geralt's like, fuck you, I will. And they're like, yeah, right, you won't. And they don't give a shit, you know? So it's that sort of subversion of lost storytelling. So I think Sokovsky did this on purpose with the elves coming from Lord of the Rings elves, to making them, instead of them being humans but better, they are humans but worse. So they are like some of our worst traits, like taken to their exaggeration. And I think one of the messages of the books is to see how much worse we can be, and that we are very much capable of going down that path, and that we shouldn't. And it's kind of like holding a mirror up to you and being like, you know, this is how much worse it can get, instead of the elves being like, look how much better it can get. And, you know, hopefully you don't do either. You know, stay in your human lane, you know. Like, the elves have caused countless genocides. Like, it's just insane the damage the elves have done in the Witcher universe. Oh, well, at least that's my interpretation of it, because there's a lot of things that happen in the Witcher books that is just left up to your interpretation, and there's propaganda, there's biases. A lot of it is you know, seeped in that unreliable space. So it is it's difficult to judge that properly. I agree with all your points, but I still like the Scoia'tael because I love plucky terrorists. Yeah, so the Scoia'tael are still very much sympathetic, and what the humans are doing to the elves is not nice. It's not right at all. Both sides are really, really bad there. And if I had to pick between the Scoia'tael and the humans, I would think that the humans are doing worse than the Scoia'tael. But if the roles were reversed, the Scoia'tael would probably be treating the human version of Scoia'tael much worse than the humans are to Scoia'tael currently. I said that kind of as a mouthful. Sorry. Who's your favorite book character? Probably Ciri. I like the Ciri parts. Do you think most fantasy race issues are just a simplified and cringy parodying of real life racism? I think they can be, for sure. But I don't know enough about that to comment on it. I think it could be, but I don't really know how. I think it's incredibly difficult to write any fantasy race without brushing against the idea of racial traits. And once you get into the idea of racial traits, and you also get into the idea of like, well, what kind of race does that match up with, like real life equivalents? What kind of trait is being spun out here that's a human trait that is being personified as well with it, like, or exaggerated with it. I think it can be difficult, but at that point you're arguing basically that there shouldn't even be any fantasy races, which I don't know. Is the Witcher 3 video political? I think parts of it kind of get into a political place, yeah. Remember that time in this game called Witcher 3 where throughout the whole entire game, you're allowed to pick the dialogue options in any way that you want when they're clearly marked as optional, and then they hit you with like you just activated my trap card if at one point you ask everything else before you ask Yennefer how she's feeling after she just did something bad, and then she's like, I'm fine, Geralt, but you know, thank you for inquiring about everything else first. And I was like, oh damn, they got me. That was pretty good. I like that moment. Detroit Become Human, I think, lets you have as many choices and branching paths that kind of justifies it as a choice-based game, whereas Life is Strange is kind of like, you're not really doing all that much. If we're, you know, expanding that over to The Witcher for how far you can take it, Witcher 2 is the extreme. You can do so much in Witcher 2. Witcher 1 is pretty fun about it too. Witcher 3 is not. Witcher 3 choices are not that great. Witcher 3 script length? Witcher 3 script length is fuck, I should just know this offhand. Hold on. It's, let me do some calculations based on what the usual length is. Just shy of 150,000 words? It's in that area. 150,000. 150,000. Yeah. Unironically, how would you have so much to say about Witcher 3 of all things? You'd be surprised, but there's very little recap in it. When I did the rewrites, I specifically shoved the recapping into like recapping pockets in the story, and I just barrel through it, and then I actually say the time of the amount of time I just spent recapping it, which I have to like re-record when I recorded those, because I wrote the sections, and at the end of writing the sections where I did the recap, I wrote in the scripts, that was my 5-minute recap of the Velen section, for an example. I don't think that was actually 5 minutes. I think that was like 6 minutes. But that was my 5-minute recap of the story in the Velen section. And then when I recorded it, I didn't know how long it would take me to read it, right? So at the end of it, it sounded crazy recording it. I would sit here and go, that was my 5-minute recap of the Velen main story section of Velen. And then I would like take a beat, and that was my 5.5-minute recap of the that was my 6-minute recap of the. I just did a bunch of different takes of what it would end up to be, because I wanted it to sound like it was the same recording session. But I couldn't just like look at the timeline and see, okay, how long did it take me to record that, because there's lots of bad takes and dead air that I have to cut out. You know what I mean? So I had to do it that way. I really can't tell you how I had so much to talk about for Witcher 3, but I did, and I think that it's it's mostly, I don't know, it remains to be seen. I think it's mostly Witcher 1 video quality when it comes to discussion. Like, there's a lot of topics to go through, and to me, it felt like there was not a lot of filler, and I managed to get the filler down to very specific areas. Now, I do have to go through some of the plot beats even outside of the recap when I come to discussing it, because we have to discuss what actually happens on the screen and in the game in those sections. But, like, you know, combat is a huge part of it. Side quests is a huge part of it. I think I talk about side quests for like over 2 hours just on its own. Not all at once, although the side quest section is its longest section. I speak about the hero's journey for a while. That goes on for quite a while. The book discussion is its own topic, the DLC. So like once you take out the gameplay, like just the side quests and the books and the DLC, like you're already at like 4 to 5 hours, right? So after that you have, okay, well, what's the rest of it? Well, I have to talk about combat and then exploration and then like how the story works and how it links back to Witcher 1 and 2 and also how it links back to the books. Then it's talking about a little about Thronebreaker and Gwent. Then it's talking about the Netflix series, which I don't want to talk about all that much in the video actually. So, you know, like once you add it all up, it gets there, man. It gets there, you know? There's a lot of topics. Is there CyberPunk 2077 info in there? I do talk about CyberPunk 2077 sporadically here and there. I think I mentioned it like 3 or 4 times, and I linked to something. I mentioned it right at the beginning. I have to talk about that with I have a metaphor at the beginning that I've gone back and I've like cut it and then put it back in and cut it and put it back in, and it's gonna stay in about Cyberpunk being the elephant in the room, and it has like a cybernetic enhanced trunk that's dangling, like that sort of thing, which is a bit kind of cringe, but I like it, so it's staying in. So I talk about that at the beginning, and I talk about it a little bit when I talk about Novigrad, and I think there's like one other time where I link it back to Cyberpunk. Yeah. Witcher 3 video deniers sitting in the chat right now with their arms crossed going, Joe's just making all this shit up. He's just making all this shit up. What's the script? Script's not real. There's no video. This fucking bullshit. I'm gonna make a fucking Wikipedia of all these things that he said about the video, and when the video comes out, which is not gonna come out because it's not real, but when it comes out, I'm gonna make sure that all these things are in the video. Prove them wrong by not releasing it. Witcher 3 Gravity. Throwback to the tidbit I released on stream once about how I was gonna do some modded runs of Witcher 3 for the video as well. There was a whole like combat overhaul mod that I found that was, I think, made by one of the developers that made the game, and it had like all these really good things in it, and I was like, oh man, this sounds really wait, this doesn't hurt me? Oh god, it does. It had all these really good ideas in it and everything, and I was like, this sounds like it might really make the combat better, and a bunch of people have suggested it. And then I'm reading through the changes, and one of them was Geralt's damage from fall height is now more consistent. He will take more damage from light falls or short falls or whatever. I was like, nope, not doing that. How the fuck can I trust anything you do if one of the changes you did to Witcher 3 was that you made Geralt take more fall damage from tiny little fucking like things from like little ledges that you can fall off of? It's just insane. Did you skip Cata? Oh yeah, we did raid in Cata for a little bit. So the guild that I had in Wrath of the Lich King continued in Cataclysm, or as we call it, Casterclysm. I say that in the Witcher video as well. The Witcher 3 video, I do the Casterclysm joke. Will you say the word Umphy in the Witcher 3 video? I do not say the word Umphy in the Witcher 3 video, no. Man goes to the doctor, says he's really depressed, has lost his spark for life, doesn't see any meaning in going on anymore. Doctor says, you're in luck. Just so happens that the world famous game critic Joseph Anderson is just about to release his video on Witcher 3. You'll really enjoy that. It'll give you a new spark for life. The man bursts into tears and says to the doctor, but doctor, I am Joseph Anderson. And the doctor says, where's the video, bitch? If you're about to be executed, just ask for a glass of water first. Who knows what could happen before the executioner brings it to you? Name that quote, chat. Who said that? That was Daddy Vesemir from the hit game Witcher. Although I don't know if he actually says it in one of the games. Shit, I don't know if he actually says it in one of the games or if it's part of the supplemental material. It might be part of a compendium that I read, because of course I read that too. What defines a good sex scene for you? I just know it when I see it. The best sex scene in all the Witcher media is probably the one with Triss in the bathhouse. It makes sense for the characters in that moment. The setting's pretty nice. It doesn't... it lingers a little bit. It is kind of perverted. I don't like it for that, but you know, it's creative. That's probably the best one. Is it Witcher 3 serious? Witcher 1 and 2 are pretty fucking serious. Witcher 3, I'm not sure if Witcher 3 is serious. Someone said, really? Thought all three games were the same tone? Really? You thought Witcher 1, 2, and 3 are the same kind of tone? I mean, I'm not saying Witcher 3 is like super silly, but I found it less serious than Witcher 1 and 2. I would say Witcher 2 is probably the most serious out of them all. Heart of Stone is very serious, and probably the most serious that Witcher 3 is, Heart of Stone, whereas Blood and Wine is very not serious. Blood and Wine is, well, it has some serious moments for sure, but Blood and Wine has some really, really silly bullshit, which works for the most part, but they're kind of opposites there. Would you call Witcher 3 realistic? Life isn't all serious all the time. It has a lot of goofy stuff. Yeah, there's some of the... Well, okay, like, a lot of the goofy stuff that happens with the Witchers when you go to Kaer Morhen and some of the stuff with Yennefer and all that, that is very realistic and feels like proper silliness and like a reasonable amount of silliness. Whereas there are other parts in the game where it's like, I don't think that it's appropriately silly. It also helps that it's probably one of the lowest parts of the whole series. The quest where the whole town has been turned into pigs is just completely fucking stupid. What was the premise of that quest with the pig? I can't remember. There was a town in Witcher 3, in eastern part of Velen, a little bit north of the bog, where they found through a teleport, I think, in ruins nearby. They found an altar with gold in it. I think the quest is called Fool's Gold. And the bunch of the townsfolk went in and they all took the money. And because they took the money, they got cursed and they got turned into pigs. When you get there, there's only one person who has not been turned into a pig, and there's also some bandits that have killed a pig and are trying to eat it, and they don't know that it's a person. And there's an option that you could potentially... You get offered some of the pig meat before you know that they're human, and no matter what you pick, you don't get to eat any. So, and also no matter what you pick, you have to have a fight there. So that's a good thing. And there's one more that's there's a friendly NPC that's there called Yontek, and Yontek has magical powers, and you can never ask him about his magical powers. It's really weird. And then the conclusion of the quest is that you take all of the pigs, you lead all of the pigs through a very awkward escort quest. I think there's like maybe 7 or 8 of them, and you take them all back to the altar, and they have to put the gold back, and then they just turn back into humans. And even though there was only 7 or 8 pigs there, now there's like 1 million people that live in the town, and you never get to ask anyone about it or see what happened or do anything to do with the quests whatsoever. It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's really, really boring. My explanation is better than the quest itself. It's one of the worst quests in the game. Do you know about the deleted scene in Witcher 3 where Geralt makes the end anomaly? I do not know that. Oh, time to delay the video even more. Do you remember the side quest is entirely just a joke about the art? Yeah, I do, and that's also a very weird quest. Do you know that there's an invisible person that follows you around the whole time that you're in that tower, and the game will never let you ask about it and investigate? And that the main wizard guy that you talk to in that quest lies to you, and you also can never call him on it either? It's very strange. Which quest again? Tower Out of Nowheres is what it's called. It's in the northernmost island in Skellige. Hottest take in the whole video is, in the whole series actually, is that I don't think that most of the side content in Witcher 3 is very good. And so I talk about side content for a lot. I go through every quest. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I know this shit. However, before that, I have to spend about 20 minutes defining side content. And then another 20 minutes categorizing it. I'm not kidding. So depending on your definition of side content, I like, if I adopted your definition, I might agree that Witcher 3 has very, very good side content. Basically, I make a huge distinction between side content that is like actual side content, like you have to go out of your way to do it, and then side content which is just like an optional extension on the main story stuff. So if you consider like the end of the Bloody Baron quest line, which I won't say because it's spoilers or whatever, the end of the Bloody Baron quest line is technically optional. You don't have to do it. So is that side content or is it not? So by my definition, I say that it isn't. I say that it is not side content. So if you think that it is, and all quests like that are, then okay, now I'll probably agree with you. Witcher 3 has really good side content. I don't think it is side content. I think it's just optional main content. I put a distinction between optional and side, and I use some examples from Deus Ex as well to argue the point. I haven't played CyberPunk. Did they improve the side quests? There are some okay side quests in CyberPunk, but not really. CyberPunk just needed a lot more time to flesh out some of that stuff. What do you think of the DLC? Is that side content? I mean, the DLC is technically side content, sure, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, from drawing a distinction from the main quest. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as that, like, that's an additional, like, game within the game that you've bought that has its own main content and side content. So that's how I draw the distinction there. When you're in the DLC area, now you're looking at the main stuff for that place. Should they have just released CyberPunk when it was ready? Maybe not though. Like, there is something to be said about, hey, eventually you just have to release something, you know? Not that I would know anything about that. The side quest section is the longest section in the video by far and away. So much so that I keep going back and forth on making it a 2-part section. I think the side quest section is, I think it's 90 minutes long. It might even be an hour and 40 minutes. And I was aiming for 45 to an hour long for each of the sections, and the side quest section is very, very long, and it doesn't even cover some of the story extensions either, like the one with Kira and stuff. It doesn't even cover those. It just covers the actual, what I consider the side content. That's also where I bitch about the hero's journey, Hero of 1,000 Faces. That's where I go into detail on that. How about a separate video for a second? Separate video? What are you talking about, separate video? Why limit yourself in length? It feels pretty arbitrary to do that. No, it's not a limit in length when it comes to, I want to limit discussion topics. I'm talking about just sections. I like to have sections be around 45 to an hour long for people who just want to watch it in installments. You know, I think that's a pretty good length for, okay, I'll watch the chapter, I'll watch the next chapter next time. Because I know some people do that. It's not that the discussion is being limited, as you can see, because, you know, one of the sections ended up being fucking 3 times longer, but, or 2 times longer, but that was sort of the goal when it comes to splitting the video into watchable chunks. Could you, if you can do so without spoiling the vid, explain your issue with the hero's journey? Hero's journey is just a really, really overly simplified way of looking at storytelling that to me, yeah, anyway, the hero's journey is a very very, 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 very simple idea, told in one of the most complex ways that you can imagine. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever tried to read, emphasis on try, to read Here Are the Thousand Faces. The amount of bullshit justification, just frankly, just fucking academic masturbation that goes on in that book to justify, hey, there are some story trends in some stories, I guess, is insane. And I say this in the video, and I compare what Campbell goes into with Vonnegut's story shapes. And if you've seen that lecture that Vonnegut has given, that is basically a very simplified version of what the hero's journey is trying to say, and it is way more effective, way more applicable to a lot of stories, and also doesn't make the, false claim of so many stories fit this mold. To be fair to Joseph Campbell, he doesn't make the claim in the book that most stories follow this format. He's just trying to draw a lot of parallels between mythology, and it's people since then that have adopted this viewpoint and have put it on a lot of stories. So it's more an argument of trying to piss off everyone instead of just Campbell. He said it. Oh, did he really say it later? Okay, fuck Campbell then. I didn't know he said it later. It's still an attempt at establishing a monomyth, which is absurd. Yeah, like, the book is at its most readable. I'm just basically just reading the script at this point. The book is at its most readable when he is just regurgitating myths that he knows, and a lot of the book just kind of starts to feel like, I read a bunch of myths, and goddammit, I have to justify the time, so here I'm going to describe them to you, and it's just kind of like the way that he thinks that a lot of these myths fit his rule is, oh man, look at this, is just really forced and odd. And it's also really hard to argue against too, because it's like, well, fuck, I don't know all these myths. Like, I'd have to spend like a month or two of doing absolutely nothing else other than reading all these myths to dispute this, like, which is why how vague he is in some parts is really annoying. Because if you're gonna be like, look, I know, like, you have to know, or at least I do when I make videos, even, like, that's why I try to have a lot of evidence in the videos to support my point. So even if you disagree with me, then you can see where I'm coming from. It's like, okay, you have to know that a lot of people aren't going to know the shit that you're talking about, so you need to be really specific so it doesn't look like you're trying to pass something off as, like, source dude just trust me. And I feel like there's a lot of fucking source dude just trust me in the book. This is Here With 1,000 Faces, by the way. It's academic masturbation, you summed it up perfectly. Yeah, but I'm very anti-academic, so I try not to do that because I know that's one of my biases. But it's annoying because there are a lot of people, there might even be some people in chat. I haven't really been reading chat much while I've been going on this rant, so maybe there have been some people in chat that do this. But you'll find a lot of people online that will say that all good stories follow that format. All good stories follow the hero's journey, and it's just not fucking true. Some do. Like, it's not, I'm not claiming that it's completely absent, but, to say something like that is just, like, it's insulting to us as storytellers. Does this one? Absolutely. Absolutely it does. It kind of does. I do my own bullshit theorizing in the script about it, though. Don't worry. Does Steins Gate follow the hero's journey? It doesn't, and it's bad. So maybe he was right after all. Thank you, Steins Gate. It was a very 1940s, 1950s thing to believe that there was a scientific way to measure everything. Sort of like psychohistory in the Foundation was a way to condense human history to a math formula. Hero's Journey strikes me as being in that mold, which is weird because 1940s and 1950s is like fairly into like postmodern movement. So you would think that it kind of would have fallen out by then, but I guess not. Maybe that took longer to take root than I realized. I think of that and I think of James Joyce in the early 1900s, much earlier than 1940, 1950. But it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I kind of do that too. I'm a little guilty of that too. I know I can never be truly objective, but I try to be as objective as possible, if that makes sense. Have you read any Freud or Jung? If not, reading any of that would probably solidify why you don't like Campbell. I've read some of Jung, not really much of Freud. I know that Campbell quoted them quite a bit in the book, and it was all a bunch of bullshit. I make a joke about that in the video, about his claim that all dreams are sexual. All components of dreams are sexual, apparently, so I make the joke about I have a recurring nightmare where I die in a car crash, so apparently I think I'm gay and I want to fuck cars. That's the joke I make in the script. I get pretty mad. What? Hey, Campbell said it, not me! Why is it gay? Oh, I think the quote was all dreams are inherently bisexual, maybe. Maybe it wasn't just sexual, it was also bisexual. I can't remember the quote now. It was a fucking wild thing that he said. I have the book on my desk. I could flip through and find it actually, but I can't remember what page it is. You didn't tell the Twitch chat about your hot take about Witcher 3's combat versus Genshin's and Breath of the Wild. Well, it's not a hot take. It's just objectively true. Genshin Impact has better combat than Witcher 3 and Breath of the Wild. I would put Witcher 3 last in the combat for those open world games. Witcher 3 is the worst combat of them all, then Breath of the Wild, then Genshin. It's just true. Genshin has pretty good combat. Like, it really does. I hate switching characters. Okay, then you're not gonna like Genshin's combat. I like switching the characters because I like doing the combos of the elements and stuff. I'm not saying it's amazing. It's not like, oh my god, it's so good, but it's all right. It's decent. Like, it's fun. Like, the way that you compare some combos and learn how some characters are really powerful compared to others. Like, it's all right. It has some fun to be had. Whereas Breath of the Wild like gets really tiring really early, and like Witcher 3's combat, I was already bored of it in White Orchard. Does Witcher 3 have better combat than Witcher 2? Yes, but that's only because Witcher 2 is completely busted. If Witcher 2 wasn't busted, I think Witcher 2 has more potential. What if the first 7 hours of The Witcher were good? Witcher 1 gets good halfway through chapter 1. The prologue's pretty bad, but the prologue's short. I think it's like an hour or so. I do agree, like that, like it is a pretty big mark against the Witcher 1 and the Witcher series. I wonder how they're gonna fix that in the remake. Witcher 2 is about, what it needs to be right from the get-go. Witcher 3 is pretty good at the beginning. In fact, some might even say that White Orchard is one of the best parts of the game. Someone might have even written about that extensively even, like spoilers because it's taken so long. In the Witcher 1 video, I said there was a secret game that I will reveal as a surprise later, that I will reveal that I played for the Witcher 3 video, and it was Monster Hunter World. And I am giving Monster Hunter World a 3 out of 5. I actually quite like the game now. I played it on my own. I played it a bunch. Monster Hunter World. I said it on Reddit under spoilers. Honest question, do you think you'll ever be able to play Witcher 3 again after the video? Like for my own enjoyment, like as a game, like I feel like playing Witcher 3? Probably not, no. But like, it's pretty rare I'll play a game again after a video unless it's like an actual game that's built for replayability, you know what I mean? It's very rare that I will replay a story game whether it was made for a video or not. And none of the Witcher games are gameplay games to me. While we're on topic of Witcher 3, will the vid talk about the latest next-gen update that include a bunch of mods? No need to answer if you don't want to go into it. Very unlikely. I'm going to look into it. I haven't yet. I'll look into it and see. If it does get a part, it'll be very small. I can't possibly think of how that would be worth, like, a whole section or even more than a couple minutes of going into. What made you want to do the Witcher videos to begin with? I've always liked the series, and I always wanted to play Witcher 3. And I say this in the Witcher 3 video itself, actually. When I first started the channel, like getting a new computer to make the videos was, the main reason to justify getting a new computer, because we really couldn't afford it. And like the sneaky reason in my head was also I get to play Witcher 3 because I didn't have a computer that could run it. So it was like that playing the Witcher 3 was like the fun part of the PC build, and then the new work was like the how we're justifying affording it, and then the channel took off and I never got a chance to play it, so it kind of got tangled up into that. So yeah, I think I say that pretty early on in the Witcher 3 video. I don't get this one either. Wow. And yet you watch me. All right, so let me explain the joke. Here we go. In the hit streams of the hit game Gravity Rush, the chatter known as Baldur, or formerly known as Baldur after this because Baldur might have to change the name, revealed that he does not like to have sex in his main bed, and if he is going to partake of the sexing, he has a separate sex bed for, sexual activities, because I actually don't know the reasoning properly, and I'm not going to, project. Anyway, so that was where it went. In the hit game Witcher 3 that this streamer is intimately aware of, there is a scene in which Geralt and Yennefer have the sexing on a stuffed unicorn. Has the joke now been explained? What? Yeah, they do. They have sex on a stuffed unicorn, aka their separate sex bed. It's also in the books. Do they ever? It's mentioned. I don't think that there's a described scene of it happening though, is there? It's 100% mentioned, I remember it, but I don't think they don't do it. Actually, how many sex scenes are there between Yennefer and Geralt in the books? There's surprisingly, compared to the games, there's surprisingly little sex in the books. It's there, don't get me wrong, it's present, but the games are more sexual than the books are. How do you feel about the Geralt crossover in Monster Hunter? It was pretty fun, I played it. It's in the video. What video? The Monster Hunter video. Oh, walked into it. If it was Cyberpunk, I would just make stairs with cars.
That's it.
I even found a way in Cyberpunk to make the stairs go down. Because if after you made a car levitate in the air, if you shot it with a bullet, it would only one bullet. If you shot with more than one bullet, sometimes it would glitch out more. If you shot it with one bullet, it would drop down like 10 feet. So as long as I positioned them properly, I could even make stairs go down. It wasn't always up. Cyberpunk was a good time. Will you ever show us some of your Cyberpunk adventures? I absolutely hope so, yeah. I saw all the footage again upstairs. Is The Witcher 3 still worth it to play if you only care about the story?
So?
Arguably, that's the only real reason to play The Witcher 3. Like, if you're counting like world immersion and exploration as part of like the story about the experience of like being a Witcher, because you definitely don't want to play it for the combat. Although the combat's not god awful, it's just like that's not like if you're gonna play a combat game, there are way better games than that. Yeah, I would say it's worth it, especially the DLC. The base game story of Witcher 3 is not very good. Now, if you play it, you may disagree with that early on, because the early part of the story of Witcher 3 is pretty phenomenal, actually. But then as it goes on, you might be like, oh. But a lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people like the story the whole time. But a lot of people also like Arby's, so... But Blood and Wine is good. Yeah, Blood and Wine's really good. Genshin Impact, unironically, has better open world combat than Witcher 3. Kind of nowhere, but what are your thoughts on Froggo from the first Witcher 3 DLC? Oh man, do I have a video for you. The Froggo from the first Witcher DLC is the exact precise point the series actually starts to experiment with combat and gets interesting. So I really like the boss for that, but in terms of like in the world of Witcher 3 or the Witcher series, that is like the first time that the game actually has good combat. But in like the overall state of gaming, that fight fucking sucks. Like, it's not a good fight, but it is like really good for The Witcher. Witcher 1 has a pretty good story, but you have to finish it to find that out. Witcher 2 is well written, but I wouldn't say has a good story. Witcher 3 is also well written, but I don't think has a good story. The DLC in Witcher 3 is well written and has a good story. Both of the DLCs in Witcher 3 are fantastic, I think. Hearts of Stone is better, but Blood and Wine's pretty good too. Blood and Wine was the best of the gameplay. True, but, you know, it's still not fantastic. In terms of the Witcher series, that's the best the gameplay ever gets. And it's like approaching the point where it's decent. So, you know. I forgot about the sound control system. Yeah, so does the all of Star Wars media, yeah.
If he moves, blast him.
Oh, my pleasure.
I hate how it's used in Witcher 2.
All right, BD.
And by Witcher 2, I mean all of Witcher, not the game Witcher 2. At what point in Witcher 3, Geralt uses Axii to like legit change a guy's whole entire personality? Like, imagine that you're like you have a fetish that you're really into butts, and Geralt showed up and waved his hand at you and said, you no longer find butts attractive. And you're like, I guess I don't now. And that's it. That's what he did. He did that to a guy. And it's like, what the fuck? I was watching a Witcher 2 vid and was wondering which plot point that didn't carry over to Witcher 3 disappointed you the most. Everything with Yorvith and Saskia, pretty much. Almost everything. Like, very little of Witcher 2 is carried over to Witcher 3. It's like, oh, just here's a big reset. And in that extent, it's kind of true to history that you think this is going to be true to history. True, kind of more realistic in that sense that, oh, you thought that all this was going to be important, but no, there's always different powers at play that might like switch up the whole entire thing. But I don't know. Like, it was a little disappointing that all these things that were so important just kind of went nowhere. Do you think Witcher 4's narrative will be better and more cohesive since the devs won't be obligated to stay faithful to the new books and will be free to introduce new characters? Cyberpunk shows me that CD Projekt is exceptionally good at character writing and dialogue writing, but not very good at story writing. So I would be very worried about the overall quality of the plot, and you can see that when Witcher kind of deviates a little bit too, although it never gets quite as bad as the story writing as of
Cyberpunk, I guess. I don't know, actually. I don't think so. So I'd be a little concerned about that, but I would be. They also have a lot of experience in that world, so I would be keen to see what would happen. I don't think I enjoy visual art animation less after learning about it. So what happens to me is, okay, so first one I learned about was books, right? Because I was writing books for a long time. Even when, like, before I was a teenager, I would write short stories, and then I was writing a lot in my teens, and then late teens, early 20s. One of my biggest hobbies was reading amateur fiction online and a lot of different writing groups online, pulling it apart, leaving criticism, and that's where the basis of where I was able to make videos from comes from as well. So from there, I can't really read anything without having that kind of baseline process running in me somewhere. Like, okay, what's the intent here? How is this working? What's going on? And I enjoy that for sure, but I can't really turn that off and enjoy the book just for the sake of it, if that makes sense. There's always like, oh, how does this paragraph work? I wonder how they wrote this. Is this the best way this could have been written? What about the sentence? Do I like that word choice? Like, is it this little too much show, not too much tell, not enough show? Or the opposite it can also be true. That sort of thing. I can't really turn that off. And the same goes for video games now too, since making the videos. I can't really play a game on my own without thinking, what would I make the video on about this? Would that go in the video? What would I think about? What's the intent here? Is this paced well? What could have been done differently? What could have been done much more poorly? And you can see me doing it on stream too. Like, I often talk about it. I think that's why I have a reputation for being so negative, even though I'm not being negative. I'm just trying to pull things apart and trying to understand them. And I kind of do it for movies now too. I always did it for movies when it comes to plot construction and how dialogue is written and everything. But in the past few years, I talk about this in the Witcher 3 script actually. In the past few years, I've tried to understand cinematography more, and I've started to look out for that, what I think is good use of cinematography, because I want to go into more making games in the future, and I feel like that's a skill that I'm gonna have to have in my bucket to see how putting those scenes together and framing things visually. I need to have some sort of basic understanding of that sort of thing. Not necessarily do it all on my own, but so I can be a part of the conversation going forward for that. So that's what I mean when I say that I can't really relax and turn certain things off when I look at those three pieces of media. That's not to say I don't enjoy them. It's just a different way of enjoying it, and I kind of don't want to lose music for that, like, kind of last refuge that I can just put some music on and chill out, and the whole time I'm not thinking, ooh, what does that mean? Ooh, that's a good chord progression. Ooh, I know what that sort of thing. That's what I mean. What do you think the game would be that would grow the channel audience the most fastest? Witcher 3? YouTube channel ain't going through any growth until that's paid. Has all the harassment about the Witcher videos tarnished your feelings on the series? I wouldn't classify it as harassment. No, it hasn't. How many playthroughs of Witcher 3 did you complete for the review? 3, if you're not including, like, resaving to see what would happen. 3 full playthroughs, but I'm gonna have to do a 4th one because of the new edition that they did. Are you excited for the new Witcher trilogy? Yeah, I think it could be fun. I hope CD Projekt learns a big lesson from CyberPunk, because every single game that CD Projekt has released, except for maybe Thronebreaker and the Gwent card game, although I didn't play the Gwent card game, so I don't know if with the standalone thing, I don't know how that launched. Every single game that they've launched has been as bad as CyberPunk really at release, and they got away with it. And CyberPunk is the first time they didn't, because the hype was just so enormous. And I hope that now they will, like, take the time to, like, actually polish their games and make sure they're in a good state to release. Hopefully they learn from it. I think that a Witcher game without Geralt as the lead could be good, but after what happened with CyberPunk, I wonder if have they confirmed what it's going to be? A game playing as Ciri would be fun, but a game of, like, make your own Witcher would be good too. I think a management game set in the Witcher universe would be fun. Like a side thing where you're, like, running like a Kaer Morhen type of situation, and, like, you have to train Witchers and send them out, and they bring back money after they go on the path for a while, and, like, you expand your services and stuff.
I think that might be fun. However, like doing it the way that Cameron operated would not be fun, because like what they did to the Witchers is like fucking yikes. So like maybe it would have to be like, you know, ethically sourced Witchers this time. I recently finished reading the Witcher books, and obviously Destiny Fate is a major theme, and you've talked about how you don't like Destiny in stories, i.e. Wheel of Time. So what is it about the Destiny in The Witcher that's better? So the Destiny in The Witcher is, instead of it being like a prophecy or just like, hey, this is the story notes that the writer wanted to have and we've added it in, it's kind of like a force of gravity in Witcher. And paradoxically it can be changed, because it's like instead of it being Destiny, like, oh, we need the characters to do this, let's just write it on a tablet somewhere and someone's gonna find it. It's instead like the power of promise and the power of like human interactions and relationships and that sort of thing. So that's why I think it works and I like it. And it still has the same kind of trappings and struggles that you can have with like man versus fate kind of stories. Now there are some prophecies in the Witcher universe that I don't really know for sure how strong they are, and like they're probably fake, like Ithlinne's prophecy. Is that how you say it? Ithlinne's prophecy? I think that's it. But you know, everything is kind of obfuscated in that story, so I like that too. It's how it's used, I think, is the simpler way to say it. So you enjoy Destiny when it's a variable force that can be defied, not an inevitable fact of the universe. No, because even in most media where they have Destiny as a in the way that I don't like it, it's almost certainly still defiable. Like there's always a way, oh, I found the loophole, oh, but we just misinterpreted it or whatever. Like it always is, like, or almost always is defiable. I don't like it when it comes across as we needed Destiny to be here in order for the character motivations to happen. So instead of being like, I found a way for these characters to want to do these things, or I wanted the story beat to happen, and I just and instead of making the characters organically want that, or have character development, or have like needs and desires and good plot that gets you there, instead they just went back in time, had some old geezer write on a tablet what the story is meant to be as a prophecy, and then that gets passed down, and then all the characters have to be, well, we have to do, some old geezer wrote it in a tablet, that's the Destiny you have to do, you can't defy your Destiny, blah, blah, blah. And that's just the story planning notes just like inserted into the story that they have to follow. That's what I don't like. If it's not done that way, then I can get on board with it. Like, I don't think the Witcher show on Netflix is all that great, but I still enjoyed it because I liked seeing those characters come to life live action. I really like Geralt, I really like Ciri, I really like Yennefer. So like the novelty of seeing them come to life in that way was still an enjoyable time for me, even if I will look at it and go, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I still enjoyed it, you know? Like, it can still be fun. What a hot take. Okay, listen. There are lots of reasons to fucking hate on the Witcher Netflix show, okay? But the whole, oh, it's not faithful to the books argument, when people on fucking online, you know the website I almost just said, haven't read the books either, and love the fucking games, when the games aren't faithful to the books either. Like, fuck off, especially Witcher 3. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, I hate the Netflix show, it's not faithful, why did they do, oh, but you like the game? You like the game, do you? Oh, okay, alright, cool. But the games are good, though? Yeah, but, like, the games aren't faithful, and that's what they always drill down on, instead of like criticizing the show for the real reasons they should criticize it, which is that the plots make no sense, the pacing is all over the place, especially the first one. The combat the fight scenes, apart from like one or two in season 1, are kind of bad, a little rare. The effects are the acting on everyone who isn't Henry Cavill isn't that great. Like, whoever plays Yennefer grows into it. I can't remember her name, and I liked her eventually, but at first I didn't. And I didn't like Ciri in season 1, but I think whoever plays Ciri in season 2, it's the same actress, right? Grew into the role and did a lot better in season 2. So I like that. I will forever be grateful to the series because it introduced me to Joey Beatty, who's in Amazing Devil, which is my favorite band at the moment. Yeah, so like, But like, yeah, you should criticize a lot of it for real reasons. Not that it's fucking about it's being faithful or not. Not about being faithful. It's about being shitty. And people think if you couldn't make it better, at least be faithful. That's cope, man. That's not what people were talking about when the backlash for season 2 happened. It was just nonstop, wall to wall, just like, it's not faithful. Why weren't they faithful? Like, I can definitely agree that maybe that's where they got to. It was, but like, that's just poor media criticism. It's like, again, with media, that's the word of the day. It's like, people will jump to, I don't like this thing, but I can't articulate why. So what's the easiest thing I could spit out? Oh, I'm just going to say it's not faithful. So I can definitely see where you're coming from, but you still have to like take what people say as what they're saying, and what people are saying as, I don't like this because it's not faithful. And that can really become a big issue when it comes to discussing TV shows and adaptations, because people will hear that from other things and think that from then on, faithfulness is the only thing, only qualitative standard you can judge an adaptation on, which is completely horseshit. That's not true at all. And then like the well's poisoned for discussing adaptations from going forward. Baldur's Gate 2 is in Athkatla. Yeah, and it was a pretty good city. I like that city. I talk about in the Witcher 3 video how walking around in the city in that game that I can't remember the name of is kind of like finally fully realized Athkatla. Novigrad, that's it. Or some say Novigrad.
It's just fantastic.
I think the characters switch between pronunciations throughout the game too, don't they? Novigrad and Novigrad. I think also in books, budget is less of a restriction. Writing, there's 1,000 people on the field, doesn't cost more than one person, which is a big advantage. IMO. I speak about this in the Witcher 3 script, actually, funnily enough, with some examples that I have gone back and forth several times on commissioning art for, and I settled on not, and I still wonder if that was the right decision or not. What happened to Eskel? I love everyone complaining about what happens to Eskel on the Witcher TV show, you know, because it's not faithful to the books. Do you know how many books Eskel is in? One. Ding, 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 ding. Actually, you know what? Maybe he's briefly mentioned in the last one. I can't remember. I think it's one, though. I think he's in Blood of Elves, and that's it. And, like, super briefly, too.
We cannot allow those Ironblood savages to gain a foothold on Storm.
I know. I would sooner die than see them darken our shores again. I wish you a safe journey tomorrow.
And I you, Clive. May your blade strike true.
Okay. Witcher 3 still the GOAT for NPC conversation animations, huh? Damn. Aren't Zelda fans mad about people who gave 9 out of 10 to Tears of the Kingdom? Yeah, but... So, another problem that adds to this that makes it worse is the Metacritic bullshit that it aggregates all the scores. So... when you have a game that's that high profile and is received that well, it's not really like the out of 10 becomes like the decimal point after the 9. Like it really does. It's like, who gives a shit? Like, what is it? 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, etc., etc. So any score that doesn't add to that as a 10 is considered like, well, you're bringing the average down, therefore I fucking hate it. You know, like, so that makes it worse. People just care too much. Well, 7 out of 10 for Witcher 3. I think 7 out of 10 for Witcher 3 is actually not a bad score for it. I think I'd give base game Witcher 3. Base game Witcher 3 might actually be a 7 out of 10, especially when it first came out. Overall, with the DLC, it's easy 8 or 9. Like Witcher 3 has a lot going for it with the DLC. Really? Yeah, base game Witcher 3 is not that great compared to the rest of the stuff. It has a lot going. Ooh, that looks pretty. It has a lot going for it. Don't get me wrong, but base game Witcher 3, especially when it launched, like buggy as fuck. Like the story, like the big conclusion and the way it uses its villain and everything in Witcher 3 is like actually bad. So you don't think one child in every 10,000 that can shoot fireballs can't be enslaved? No, but is it that low? For one, I don't know if that's the exact numbers. Like maybe the population numbers we're seeing aren't exactly real. It just doesn't ring true because this doesn't feel like the kind of rabid society that would do this sort of thing. Like this is. I don't. There's just something really off about this. It just feels fucking forced. I don't know. Especially considering like it's said to have gotten worse in 13 years. I don't know. There's something about it that's not ringing true to me. Martha said it's worse for bears in Rosaria. And Rosaria seems like one of the nicer places. We haven't seen enough of it yet, though. It's definitely not as bad as the as what happens in Witcher 3. Let's put it that way. Because it's introducing us established that the magic users are very, very oppressed, whereas in Witcher 3 it just makes absolutely no fucking sense. This game of Witcher 3? So far, Witcher 3. What's the story right now? This is legit filler, yeah.
You've seen to every last one of them.
Does it have to be optional to be filler? No, I don't think so. Does The Witcher have filler? Yeah, I would say that has a lot of filler quests like out in the world when it comes to like a lot of the like petty kind of content, like petty in a way like petty cash is petty, like a lot of like, oh, there's a treasure hunt here, or like there's a note to find here, that sort of thing. I would say that's easily defined as filler to me. But like the monster contracts that you do and a lot of the story side quests, I wouldn't call those filler. Those are there to make you feel like you're a Witcher. Is Downtime filler? No, definitely not. I want to say that filler is something that doesn't have any meaningful addition to what the game or story is trying to do, and it's just there to fill a vacancy. This is surprisingly hard to nail down. There's a whole section in the Witcher 3 video about side content in a similar vein as this, because of course there is. That's why I talk about Deus Ex a bit. I'm expecting some shit for that section actually, but we shall see. How much of the Witcher 3 video is filler? About 10 hours of it, I would say. So still a lot of rock solid good content in there. Personally, the fast travel is destroying my any sense of scale. These are entire countries warring with each other, and you're just zipping to everywhere you need to be. Yeah, it's even more flippant with the fast travel than Witcher 3 is, isn't it? Also, shout out to the end of Witcher Netflix season 2, where in the final episode, Yennefer and Geralt fast travel across the whole entire country. That is something that happens. They literally use fast travel to get across the country. Really makes you feel like you're playing the game. Like Witcher 3 has kind of like a time freeze in effect, where it's like not everything is happening at the same time, but time is moving forward in this like regularly, and I think that's making it worse. It's exacerbating the issue, yeah. You mean like a portal thing? No, I mean like they get on horses and they're like boom, and then the next scene they're just across the country because they fast traveled. I remember them riding on horses in Yennefer and Geralt when you talk. They haven't riding for weeks. But yeah, it's like a multi-week journey at best. And like the scene, maybe I'm misremembering, but in the scene to me, like when they start galloping towards Kaer Morhen, like the next scene when they arrive at Kaer Morhen has the same amount of energy, urgency, everything, same speech. It's like they haven't spoken in all the weeks, nothing. it's just like scene. Boom, done. And it's just like they fast traveled right across. It's fucking ridiculous. Like I if my memory's right, I can't overstate how much it feels like they just fast traveled across the country. Like it's like nothing happened in these weeks long journey that should have happened. Which is like doubly bad because earlier in the season, they do use a portal to get somewhere fast. Like that is a plot point, and then they just forget about it. Isn't it amazing that in Witcher 3, the very best thing that you can buy with perk points is one of the first ones that you can buy? Like you might buy that in White Orchard, and then you're just set for the whole entire game. It's just the best one. Number one. Don't spoil your video. What video? Which perk? Gourmet. It's the best perk in the game. Imagine playing a game where you're a character that famously uses potions in order to heal, and you're meant to like involve yourself in the alchemy system, and then within the first 30 minutes of the game they let you take a perk that completely just makes it so you never ever have to drink a healing potion ever for the rest of the game. 300 hours of content later and you have not drunk a single potion because all you need to do is eat a fucking chicken wing and that's it, because you got gourmet. I don't think I ever drank a healing potion in all of my playthroughs of Witcher 3. I just finished Little Sacrifice's short story in The Witcher, and the ending, without trying to spoil anything, with Dandelion's ballad and Little Eye, makes me feel as if the book was written by Dandelion. Did you get that feeling while reading some of the short stories? Maybe a little bit. Sometimes it goes into that one. The ending of that is, like, brutal. That was a really strong ending of that one. I really like the short stories of The Witcher. CD Projekt seems to think so, at least, because they, or at least in part, because they did that for the games. Aren't there like a lot of these? Like, I guess you're supposed to refund all the points and you're only supposed to invest it. then just let me unlock all of them for real cheap. That you're limit. It's the Witcher 3 problem all over again. Like, ability points are not the limiting factor here. It's the slots. So just let me get them all. Be cheaper with it. Both The Witcher 3 and this game seem to have a lot of downtime between story beats. I think The Witcher 3 tends to be really good with its downtime. Gwent tends to be addicting. What do you think are important components to make downtime actually interesting? Witcher 3, you can kind of just chase it as much as you want at the same time, too. You can kind of set the pace yourself a bit more in that. And when you do the main stuff, by and large, it's consistent quality after the Bloody Baron. And that consistent quality is kind of like okay to good. Whereas everything with the Bloody Baron is really, 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 really good. Yeah, the side stuff in The Witcher 3 is much better than this. I would still say it's not absolutely fantastic, but it is by and large better than this, yeah. I feel like you have a lot more agency in choosing what you're doing in the Witcher 3. A lot more freedom to move around. A lot more freedom to just find things organically, too. Downtime is important, and downtime is not always for side stuff. Although I'd be interested to see if a game could ever pull off, like, hey, the main quest is done, like, go do a side quest. We don't care which one, but you have to go do a side quest before you can come back and do the main quest. You know, using that. Whereas Witcher 3, way better than Witcher 1 and 2, will have moments in the main quest where the characters kind of, like, just sit and kind of decompress a little bit. And it'll let a moment hang when it needs to. Blood and Wine is especially good for that with you-know-who. Best part of Witcher 3 is the preparation for monster slaying, e.g. the investigation, discovering a vampire is causing a problem, making a vampire oil, drinking the anti-vampire potion before the battle, etc. That kind of monster hunter preparation in a story-based RPG is so cool. I disagree so much with this. However, I do agree that would be cool, and I would really like it if the game, like, really incentivized that and made you do it, and it was, like, a big part of it, but, like... oh wow, I do 5% more damage to vampires. Yay, I'm so glad I put this oil on. You're like, man, if you got into it and you like the systems that are there, I don't think you're wrong. I'm jealous, actually. Like, I'm envious because, like, I wish I could get into that, but no, like, fucking hell, God damn it. Witcher 1 did it better. Witcher 1 did do it better, and even Witcher 1 didn't do it as well as it could have, I think. People like role-playing even if the mechanics aren't necessary. Yeah, it's true, but, like, if that's the case, you can role-play even without the mechanics even be there, right? You could just pretend, like... I prefer to have more of an incentive. Spoilers for the video. There is a section in the video where I talk in great detail about how it would have been really cool if there are little videos or little cinematics that play before the hunts in Witcher 3. I think almost all of them have one that show Geralt kind of like meditating, preparing for the fight before the boss appears. They're actually really cool, and I thought it would be really, really good if in those, it doesn't tell you the monster that you're hunting until then, and you have to, like, look at the clues, maybe go through the bestiary, maybe it be, you know, on the easier side, but it's kind of like a little knowledge test to be like, what monster do you think it is? What kind of oil do you think you should use? What kind of potion do you think you should have for this? And be a part of like working with Geralt. And then as you choose all of that, and if you get it right, then you get like a stacking bonus of like what the reward is, or maybe you get like a better mutagen from it, or just something like that. Like that's what I would want from that kind of experience. Whereas all of the hunts that are in Witcher are just kind of like just follow the red-nosed vision, like, here you go, interact with this, all right, Geralt tells you what to do, make the thing, do it, then fight the monster. And, you know, if you want to use oils and potions, you can for a marginal upgrade that you don't even need. Even on Death March, you don't need to do anything to beat the fight. Like, that's what I would like. But the one part where I'll vehemently disagree on that is spirits. Having to use Yrden to hard counter them is sort of a specialized knowledge I expect from a professional monster slayer to be equipped with. Like, there are some monsters like that do use those, and that's fine. Like, you do have to do it. And it just never feels like it's a creative use of the system or the spells and abilities you have. It's just more like a key to unlock the fight. I think I might actually say that verbatim in the video. I didn't like that part. And also that's like in the tutorial they do that, and it never gets any more complicated than that ever. That's like, that might be the first hunt you do, and it never gets more than that. Oh man,
years condemned to its fate.
You like the characters? I think Witcher 3 is more of a character game.
Absolutely
Absolutely a character game. CD Projekt is I'm not gonna say they're unrivaled, but they are in the top tier with Naughty Dog, I guess. I would put those together. I'm not sure who else I would lump in that tier when it comes to characters and characterizations, the presentation and dialogue writing. Even CyberPunk at release is excellent at that. When the characters get some time and room to grow, which unfortunately they don't, and that's when I would say that the story writing gets in the way. But yeah, they are godlike at that. This is like when Geralt was stuck in the ship. Just Igni your way out of there. What are you doing? At least Geralt got a really cool cutscene afterwards. So true. Maybe the coolest scene in that whole entire game. Oh man, it was so like finally he gets to be like, oh my god, that's Jason Bourne. That was such a good scene. I really like that scene. As someone who's curious about buying the Witcher game and have not read any of the books, are any of them worth it for the gameplay or story? I've only seen a bit of your Witcher 2 video, sorry. Witcher 1, so they're all worth it for the story, but in different ways. Witcher 1 has a incredibly rough but surprisingly great story if you can get to the end, but it is very dated at this point, and they're remaking it. So you haven't played it yet, so you might as well just wait for the remake. It's probably going to be out in like a couple of years, so I would recommend waiting for the remake. Witcher 2 you shouldn't play without playing Witcher 1, but if you want to get into them, like, it's still worth it. You can enjoy it. Witcher 2 has a very well-written, complex story that's worth it to see, like, how video games handle choices or whatever, but in terms of like an emotional core or a good plot, it's kind of whatever. Like, it's too confusing for its own good, really. Witcher 3 has really great character moments, and you could probably play Witcher 3 without playing Witcher 1 and 2. You'd be fine. So if you want to play a Witcher game, you can play Witcher 3. Don't go into Witcher 3 expecting a great plot. Some people do think it has a great plot. If you think so, then that's great. You enjoyed it. But it has really good character interactions. It has some pretty good world building. The dialogue is really good production values. So I would suggest doing that if you really want to play a Witcher game. The DLC in Witcher 3 is the best part. The DLC actually does have a good plot, whereas the base game Witcher 3 does not. Hearts of Stone has the best plot. Blood and Wine is decent, but not as good as Heart of Stone IMO in terms of plot. The base game is kind of worthless in terms of plot, but it has some good character moments. It's weird. I think that my favorite part of the whole saga. So the Witcher books are split into, there's 7 books and they're split into 2. Well, there's an 8th book too, but I didn't read that one, and I don't think I will still until I'm done, because I didn't want to get confused, because it was written a long time after the other 7. So there's 2 books in the beginning, and they're a collection of short stories. I love those. And then there's 5 books, which is kind of like Lord of the Rings. It's a continuing saga. So the short stories are like all over the place. They're out of order on purpose. And then there's the saga, which is one long story split into 5 volumes. It's weird that my favorite section of the 5 volumes has nothing to do with Geralt. It's in the last book, and if you've read it, it's the chapter that is the showing how the war, the battle played out, with all these side characters that they've been building throughout the whole entire series. Like that whole section like saved that book for me. I love that section. Like I get like literary nerd chills when I think about that section. That was such a good section. But like the rest of the saga is pretty good, but it does have some pacing issues. How many Death March playthroughs did you do for the Witcher 3 vid? 2. One with like a normal run, and then I did another one where I didn't upgrade my weapons and I was naked the whole time. I used the starter sword. The ones that Geralt has at the very beginning of the game, I never put another weapon on. And I beat the whole game, including the DLC. But why? To make a point. Because I could. Igni percentage health damage abuse. I didn't use Igni at all, really. There's maybe a couple fights where Igni was useful, but most of it was Ard. No, not Ard. Quen. Here's a spoiler from the video. One of my favorite jokes in the video, actually. So if you actually do care about that, maybe you should mute the stream. I have a joke saying that all this talk asking about who's the best waifu for Geralt being Triss or Yennefer, when really the real answer is Quennefer. Because Quen is just so powerful. That's the best joke. It's not the best joke, it's one of my favorites from the script. I know it's bad, but I love it. Which one is Quen again? The one that puts up a shield that will tank any hit, no matter what damage it does. IMO, not really. It's called Khaled. It's called side quest for a reason. It's optional, maybe, but a lot of people seem to think that a lot of the optional side quests. See this now we're getting to the Witcher 3 talk. Some of them say that there's a lot of context that are added into those things, and maybe they're right. And if it's right, then I can say, okay, look, the game is addressing it. It's just that doesn't mean that it's the criticism is now invalid. It's just now it should have been, well, this should have been part of the main quest instead. But I talk about this in the Witcher 3 video because I talk about everything in the Witcher 3 video, including God and Joe Rogan and everything in between. Not really. Well, not really. But like calling something side quest and optional is not always the same thing. So, in Witcher 3, no spoilers, but I will say the name of the quest or the name of the character involved in the quest. If you played The Witcher 3, you know the character, the Bloody Baron. The conclusion of that quest is a main quest. You have to do it. You cannot beat the game without doing the Bloody Baron quest. However, the last part of that quest is optional. You don't have to do it. You do not have to do the end of Bloody Baron's quest. You can just let him deal with that all by himself, and you can just fuck off into the sunset. Now, does that mean that it is purely like optional or side content? I don't think so. I think you should do that if you want to judge the game, and that's the end of the story. Just because you can choose to skip it, I feel like that's not really a valid take. You know, like if someone was to do a critique or a story discussion on The Witcher 3, and they said the Bloody Baron questline, you know, it was pretty good, but I feel like it's lacking in a good conclusion. And then someone said, well, that's because you didn't do the conclusion. And then someone was to respond with that, well, it was optional, so I didn't have to do it, so therefore I can criticize it. I'd be like, I don't think so. That's what I mean. The murderer quest in Witcher 3 was a good side quest. Which one? How did you feel CD Projekt Red making the DLC villains more compelling and formidable than the main ones in The Witcher 3? Yeah, I think it's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's kind of weird. I talk about it at length in the video, so you'll have a better take coming at some point in the future. But it bothers me a little bit. But the main villain in Witcher 3 fucking sucks. So it's good to have much better ones in the DLC. Although Hearts of Stone is way better than whatchamacallit, Blood and Wine. Blood and Wine's still pretty good though. Is it though? It absolutely is, yeah. For me. If you want more exploration and stuff, then you might like Blood and Wine a lot more, obviously. Well, not you might, you will. Like if you want like a miniature sequel to Witcher 3, then you will love Blood and Wine. Whereas Hearts of Stone is just like a really, really good side quest. Like that's underselling a little bit, actually. Like it's a really, really good side quest. Should I read the Witcher books before playing the games? You don't have to, no. If you are going to play Witcher 1 and 2, okay, reading the books before you read Witcher 1 will make your experience worse. Although there will be some kind of moments where you're Leonardo DiCaprio meme going, oh, it's him, it's her. But it will make your experience worse. If you care about continuity and the like you will be annoyed greatly. If you can like go in knowing that it's going to annoy you and you can kind of like let it like not affect you, then it's fine. Reading the books before Witcher 2 will greatly enhance your appreciation of a lot of the details. However, if you are really like on board with like sinking into the games and the books, I would recommend either play Witcher 1, then play Witcher 2, then read the books. Because at the end of Witcher 2, spoilers, Geralt gets his memory back. And then you get his memory back at the same time that Geralt has it, because you will read the books. And then you go into Witcher 3 aligned with him properly. Or you can play all 3 games, and then you can read the books, and then you can play the games again, and then there will be a lot of references and everything that you didn't understand before that you will now understand, and you can get to appreciate the game twice. So you might enjoy that. But yeah, so The Witcher critique is probably my favorite video. The Witcher 3 video might be better than it. We'll see when it comes out. I really like this video. I think that it's paced very well. Has a lot of interesting things to talk about. It has probably the best I've ever done on a mix of recapping
the story to keep people up to speed while also having parts sprinkled in that have actual proper like discussion points instead of just being like story, you know, that sort of thing. One of the biggest reasons why the Witcher 3 video is not here is because the way that this turned out after I had to remake them all when it was before one big thing, the way this turned out was so much better than anything I had, and as you can see, it's also way better than this one. And the Witcher 3 video was a lot more like this one than it was like this one. And I didn't like that, and then fucking life happened, and here we are. Fucking hell. I'm sorry. Anyway, this video is deeply flawed because the game is fucking crazy, to put it mildly. The amount of choices that you have and the amount of story recapping you have to do. So like I did really well here, I think, with recapping the story while having discussion points. Here, I just have to say fuck it. I just can't do it. Like I did my best. Like there is still a lot of discussion that I do, but I found it better, and I think this was the right decision to do, because otherwise it would have been like even longer than it is. To just be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna recap for the next 10 minutes. Here we go. Like so like instead of trying to sprinkle it in too much. The Witcher 3 video does that too, except I really cut it down to being as succinct as possible. You can actually time how much I spend recapping in the Witcher 3 video, because I timed it. Like I actually went back and I recorded a bunch of lines as I'm recapping it, and I said this was a 10-minute recap of the story in this section, you know what I mean? So you can actually figure out how much it is, and it's a lot better of a ratio than this one, like by miles. Can you tell some or all of the games you are referencing in the Witcher 3 video? Not off the top of my head, no. I talk about the original Deus Ex for a bit, a little bit of Monster Hunter World.
So,
believe it or not, the other Witcher games.
piece of wood I sent you.
CyberPunk, believe it or not, Yakuza 0.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
play Iceborne? Just a little bit. How many dark references in the Witcher 3 video? I don't think there's any dark references in the Witcher 3 video. Witcher 2 only. Witcher 1 ending? Witcher 1 ending is really, really good, yeah. Witcher 2's ending is okay. Witcher 3's ending, Blood and Wine's ending is pretty good. Becoming a parent, seeing how hard it is, has it made you look at your parents' actions when it comes to your upbringing through a different perspective, and do you forgive them for some of their misgivings? Some of them, yes, but others, no. The first time I ever held Finn is my first child. First time I ever held Finn in my arms, Lily coincidentally had the same thought too, because Lily's parents weren't that great either. One of the first thoughts that entered my mind about my parents was, what the fuck is wrong with them? Now that take has become a little more nuanced throughout the years. Like I understand that it's a lot easier to feel a strong parental bond with a newborn baby. You know, it's a very an emotional moment. There's a lot of like evolutionary shit at play even that you can't even help really when it comes to bonding and stuff. But that was one of my first thoughts, yeah. So in some ways I have forgiven them for a bunch of stuff, and in other ways I've gotten more critical. I've been like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, what the fuck happened? But you know, believe it or not, I speak about this a little bit in the Witcher 3 video. There's everything in the Witcher 3 video. So I understand that life is complex. I understand that the things that my mom and dad went through were like with each other as well. They did not have a very good marriage. It's hard to judge. It's very personal for them. Oh look, 420 at the bottom. Oh dude, what's the 420? Dude, 420. Oh dude, ribbon blazing it. Oh, dude. Anyway, yeah. So I understand that it's hard to judge, and that being judgmental isn't always fair. But you know, at the same time, like it would have been nicer if they did a better job. You know, because you know I turned out okay, right? Do I think Geralt is a good dad in the Witcher books? I can't answer that without saying spoilers, but I would actually say no. I don't think he was a bad dad though. Speaking of being wrong, someone asked in chat earlier, Triss or Yennefer. For me, neither of them. If I had to pick one of them, I mean, the way I see Triss now, I see her as like evil, but like If that's not a good read, I'd probably pick Triss over Yennefer. But for Geralt, Yennefer easily. If it was me and I get to pick any Witcher girl, it would be Anna Henrietta. The game version, not the book version. The book version is very different. Is she blonde? Yeah, of course she's blonde. But that's not why. Isn't she pretty tall though? Yeah, but I'm tall. Do we have to have this discussion again? A girl does not have to be short. She just has to be shorter than I am. Triss was blonde in the books, or am I mistaken? No, she wasn't blonde. She's always been red hair. Described as quite scarlet hair, like flaming red. Is Yen different in the books? Yes and no. I think that how Yennefer talks and acts and her general attitude is captured very well in the games compared to how she is in the books, but the games like ignore just so much character development that she goes through in order for the story to make sense. So yes and no. But the way she talks, her demeanor, everything like that is very accurate. But like the decisions that she made before she showed up in Witcher 3 do not align with how she is in the books. Did you like the succubi in The Witcher? No, not really. Have you heard that Sapkowski is writing a new Witcher book? I have not heard that. Is that true? So he wrote another one, and it's the only one I haven't read. He wrote another one after a long time after he wrote the series of novels, and that was most of that was set in the past, so it wasn't a continuation. There was one part, and I read that part, but I didn't want to read the rest because I didn't want to get too confused with the timelines and everything, because it was already hard enough to follow the different continuities and everything. So I'm curious if it's going to be like that again, or if it's going to be after the novel saga. As he said many times, the main Witcher story came to an end with The Lady of the Lake, which was published 24 years ago. Just like the book Sapkowski has released since then, anything else in the Witcher story will continue to either be a side story or a prequel, according to Sapkowski. Yeah, but like he could go back on that. Like that was a long time ago. I read some of the interviews he gave about the books and the games too, and like it's hard to because most people only found out about The Witcher a long time after the books were done. Obviously, if you're in Poland, that's different. But for most of the people in my circles and to do with video games, didn't find out about The Witcher until a long time after the books were already done. It's hard to appreciate just how much time has passed. Like you go back and read the interviews that Sapkowski gave when the books first came out, when he was still writing them even, and now, and he's a completely different person. Like. And rightfully so. It's been like almost like 3 decades. Like he is a completely different person. So like you can't hold him to that. So who knows what it's gonna be. He was surprisingly horny in some of the earlier interviews. Witcher is horny, so that checks out. Witcher is not really that horny actually. The books aren't that horny. What do you mean, Joe? The games are way hornier than the books. I don't think Skyrim is a 10 out of 10. I just think Skyrim is a really good game, and it gets too much shit. Because Witcher 3 is just so much better, and in some cases, yeah, you're right. Witcher 3 is better, but you know, Skyrim still has a lot going for it. I say this in the Witcher 3 video. It pisses me off when people say Witcher 3 has a better version of Skyrim in it because of Skellige, and that's just not fucking true. Like they have different goals, man. Ice equals Skyrim, yeah. How is this not stealing, but that abandoned base was stealing? Yeah, I don't get it. The rules are weird. That's a common thing in these games. Witcher 3 does that too. The crime and punishment system in Witcher 3 is just like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is not finished. Why is this even in the game? I talk about it in the video, I think. Actually, I'm not sure if this made it in the video. Maybe it was just in my notes and I cut it. There was a part when I played Witcher 3. It was in the middle of Velen, right around that central island where you started next to the Hangman's Tree. There was a part there where I cleared a little settlement of ghouls or owl ghouls or whatever the fuck they are. And you know when you do it and then it shows Geralt like standing back going like, yeah, I did a good job here, and then it shows like a montage of the sky going whoa, and then 3 people walk by and they're like, yay, we can come home now, you know, like that sort of thing. So I did that, and then it loaded all the NPCs returning to the area, and then I saw that there was a treasure chest in the water next to the pier, and I jumped in to get it, like to loot it. And apparently this was flagged as owning to the settlement that I just saved, and it was like a fisherman's discarded hook was in the treasure chest, and I picked this up just thoughtlessly, not even realizing that it was owned by them, you know, because I just like spammed E whenever I was next to something. I would like, just suck things up like a vacuum cleaner in Witcher 3, and then I had to like kill every single guard that was in that settlement, because it was like, holy shit, you jumped in that river and picked and looted that chest in front of us. So like it's just so bad. I don't get it, like why that was included in the game when it doesn't even work properly. But then that's not the only system in Witcher 3 that feels unfinished. Like, I still don't understand what they were thinking when you can just hold right mouse button and guard an infinite amount of wolves around you forever. Like, you could just stand there and they will never ever break through your guard ever. You know, like there's lots of little things like that I don't get. Witcher 3 has thievery? Yeah, it does. Yeah, you can't really use it for anything. It's just that some objects, and it's random too. Sometimes you can go into next to someone and loot a chest right in front of them, and other times something that's in a barrel, they get angry about it. Like if you pick it up, the guards will get angry at you. Yeah. It's one of the worst issues with Witcher 3 style point of interest maps. Yeah, exploring in Witcher 3 is markedly less interesting than exploring in Skyrim. I would agree with that too, yes. The world of Witcher 3 is a lot more interesting to me in terms of atmosphere and the background and everything and the people that live in it. But in terms of like the exploration you do in it, it's not as good, no. There's less sense of discovery and more that you're just like Roomba-ing to content. Oh, there's a pile of content, let me go suck it up. Oh, there's a pile of content, let me go suck it up. Is that content Roomba analogy in the video? It's not. Should I add it? It's pretty good, isn't it? I just thought of it right now. Toussaint in Witcher 3, is Witcher 3 at its peak? I really like Toussaint. I also really like someone who lives in Toussaint, but let's not get into that. I really like Toussaint, and I feel like Toussaint was, in a way, was just them flexing that they made another Novigrad that was at that level. Not quite as big, obviously, but like really beautiful. In some ways, it's a better layout. But I don't know if I would agree that that's Witcher 3 at its peak. It is really good, though. Velen is fantastic. Yeah, I think something I do say in the video is that Witcher 3 blows its load in the first 20 hours, and then after that, it never ever gets back up there because Velen is just so good. But it does get back up there with the DLC, so maybe... but that was more talking about Hearthstone than Blood and Wine, although I do really like Blood and Wine. Blood and Wine is probably my second favorite area after Velen. Overall. Velen has some good primary quests, but Skellige has better quests overall and way more atmosphere than Velen past the first couple hours. Does it? I find that Skellige is way too samey, and it's good at first, but it's way too samey, and I was disappointed in the quests of what they could have been instead. But maybe if I looked at it a bit more objectively, maybe I would agree. I'm actually having trouble remembering what my conclusion was in the video because it's been so long since I wrote that. But my brain is telling me that I enjoyed Velen more, but maybe I'm getting the main quest mixed up there, because the main quest is definitely better in Velen. In fact, Velen is the only place that the main quest is even good. So definitely that. I talk about the lighthouse quest in Skellige quite a bit in the video, because that's one of the few examples of Witcher 3 content that doesn't feel like it was just slotted in any old place in the map, that it had to use that location. I go into great detail about that sort of distinction. Again, it's kind of relevant to this game and how these content packages are just kind of plopped down anywhere that they fit during the procedurally generation, whereas Witcher 3 is not procedurally generated, and yet it still feels like a lot of that content is similarly just like, okay, we made this content package, where would we like to implant it onto the map? Okay, it's going here. Most of the quests, and by most I mean like 90+% of them, and I'm talking about side quests here, not main quests. Most of the side quests in Witcher 3 could be anywhere at all. It doesn't matter where you find them. And they would still make sense, and the exceptions are good, that they use the environment and location where they are in interesting ways, but they still don't go enough about it. Yeah, I think the biggest advantage of Toussaint is the limited size and interesting points of interest. Also helps that you have a home base in it, and the statue quest that you build up gradually. Statue quest, the balls. Oh no, the giant monument. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, you said statue, and I thought about the balls. I didn't really like the monument quest. I don't know. Parts of Toussaint and Blood and Wine felt really awkward to me. What's that? Is that a ship? There was something kind of sleepy about Toussaint, that it just felt like the world wasn't reacting properly. It felt like they doubled down. Again, I spoke about this the other day with the quest where you go to a town that's been overrun, a settlement that's been overrun, and after you clear out the settlement, it'll show a time lapse of like the day and night cycle shifting, and then all the people will come back while Geralt was off meditating in the corner thinking about being a Witcher. Do you know what I'm talking about? I feel like there was like 10 times more of that shit in Blood and Wine, and I didn't really like it. Like, shit is just happening. Wait, he's a Witcher? He's a Witcher? All those, like, oh no, there's monsters in my wine cellar quest, and like, there's just a lot of copy and pasted content in Blood and Wine. There's copy and pasted content in a lot of the rest of the game too, but I feel like because Blood and Wine was a more constrained play area, and they repeated a bunch of things over and over, that I got to feel it a bit more in Blood and Wine, and it makes me a little nervous for what they do next, because maybe they were testing things out when it came to filling the map with generated content, because it's really hard to fill a map. So maybe that's what they were doing. I pogged out of my gourd in Blood and Wine when an enemy from Witcher 1 came back though. I was like, oh, it's them! I remember them. Soy Point. Oh man. Oh, it's that. Which one? Gotta play it and find out. There was two actually, but the one I was thinking of was the Dags. That's as vague as I'm gonna get. What do you think about the Witcher remake? I'm really excited for it. I think that it would be a great way for people who really love the Witcher series to go back and play the other two games in the series. Finally. And I think Witcher 1 story is really rough, and the presentation of Witcher 1 story is not great in terms of like it's selling you on getting into it. But if you can look past that and you can vibe with the jank, I sincerely think that Witcher 1 has one of the best stories in the medium. Like the Witcher 1, that's why I went into it in so much in the video, like the Witcher 1's conclusion and how it builds into this big revelation at the end, and et cetera, you know. If you watch the video, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't. It's really good, but unfortunately the prologue really sucks, and chapter 1's introduction is really not great either. So you have to invest into it, and if they can fix that in the remake while keeping the soul of the story, then I think it would bode well. I really like the fake out at the end of my video. Yeah, I really wanted to capture the effect of playing it yourself, because I know a lot of people are never going to play that game, and when that video came out, the remake wasn't announced, so I really wanted to give people that experience, because I know, sometimes I just know people are not going to go back and play it. For the most part. Some people will, but most people aren't. That's my favorite video work I've ever done, is the end of the Witcher 1 video. Overall, I do like the Witcher 3 video more, but I don't think there's any part of the Witcher 3 video that is better than that part at the end of the Witcher 1 video. But we'll see what people think. There's a part in the Witcher 3 video where I get weirdly personal about my life, because it was relevant to what we're discussing. And I've gone back and forth on cutting that so many times, but maybe some people might like that, I don't know. Okay, why is there a time limit on this? Thronebreaker video, when? I talk about Thronebreaker in the Witcher 3 video, during the Gwent section. It's fairly deep into the video. It's not right at the end, but it's
over 2/3 of the way in. So around 7 to 8 hours is when I talk about Thronebreaker. That's not a joke. When you criticize Wheel of Time in the Witcher video, are you just criticizing the pattern, or do you dislike that series? I'm criticizing the pattern. I think that Wheel of Time is decent. I haven't finished it. I think I've read the first 4 books. When I started reading Wheel of Time, it wasn't done yet. Robert Jordan was dead, but it was rip. But it wasn't done yet. What's his name hadn't come in, and Sanderson hadn't come in and finished it yet. One day I'll go back and finish it. I think at one point in the Wheel of Time books, someone starts acting erratically because the prophecy says that they're going to do something. So therefore, I'm invincible because that hasn't happened yet, and the prophecy is never wrong. So I don't need to do. And I think that's actually the most interesting way that they use it. The rest of it is like I hate it when it's like, oh, the prophecy is the writer's story planning notes, and we have to go along with the prophecy because that's what the writer said. It's just a really cheap way of getting character motivation in. What regions would you like to see in Witcher 4? Why are you putting that evil on me? What the hell? Nilfgaard? Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing some of Nilfgaard. Are you excited for CyberPunk? Yeah, but I don't have time to play it. I don't think I need to play the CyberPunk expansion for Witcher 3 video. Maybe I'll dabble in it a little bit. I do talk about CyberPunk a fair amount in the Witcher 3 video, and by fair amount I mean I bring it up, I think, several times. There's a few paragraphs here and there. I don't think it's necessary. Just to note, they're also bringing out an update to CyberPunk that reworks core parts of the game, so some of your criticisms of the game may be invalid soon. Oh yeah, I know that. There was no real, like, CyberPunk criticisms in the Witcher 3 video. The CyberPunk video script, yes, but the Witcher 3 video, I mentioned CyberPunk and I draw some comparisons, but it's not really about the state of the game all that much, not specific. CyberPunk reviewed pretty well, so like it didn't pass over for a lot of reviewers that like the outlets. I feel like they were afraid to go hard on it. I was reading some of the Phantom Liberty reviews today, and it was reminding me a little bit of reading the Cyberpunk 2077 reviews. There were some that criticized it and said, you know, this game wasn't ready, but a lot of them gave it pretty high reviews, didn't they? Or am I misremembering? I'm surprised people defended Cyberpunk. It's crazy. Well, I kind of did. I don't think it was ready to be released, and I think it would have been way better if they left it for another year, maybe even 2. But I think underneath that, there's a decent game. Ironically, it's kind of more of a Bethesda game than a Witcher game. It's more Bethesda game than Starfield, really. I feel like it has some stuff going for it. I don't know. I didn't really get caught up in the hype as much as other people, so maybe my expectations weren't as high, but like I saw people criticizing it, being like, okay, where are the crazy like combat systems and interplay with stealth and running on walls and all this other shit and everything, and I was like, you guys were expecting that? Because like to me, like the combat system in Cyberpunk 2077 was a huge step up from Witcher 3 as it was. Like Cyberpunk 2077 is easily the best combat system that CDPR Writers has ever done. Like easily, it's not even close. So I was pretty happy with that, and it's also much better than any Fallout 4 or Fallout 76 combat system. Like it's pretty good for an open world system. I think it needs more enemy variety, I think, but like how the gunplay works and the melee works and some of the powers, it's decent. You know, it could be more to it. I don't disagree that it would have been way better if it had more onto it. Obviously, you could always have more, but I was happy with it. It was the bugs and the lack of finished stories and some of the characters going nowhere that really pissed me off about Cyberpunk, and that the world didn't really feel authentic. That was my big issue with it, but I had a pretty good time with Cyberpunk playing it at release. But then, you know, I'm weird. I was enjoying it for the bugs at some point. Cyberpunk had like 4 guns. You know, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have like 2 swords, so, you know, that's double the amount of the other game of the year. Cyberpunk has more than 4 guns, doesn't it? It's at least 5. Will you play Phantom Liberty on stream? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know if you've played it, but the Witcher 3 Next Gen update changed the game quite a lot. For example, Red Skull enemies are nowhere near as tanky. Yeah, I have to play it again. I know. That is a big reason why streams are going on break. Yeah, I have to play it again. I've already done work on how I'm gonna like retool some stuff, so it's not gonna be that bad. But it is a factor, yeah. It also means I get to record 1440p footage of the game too, which is a good thing, because all my footage so far is 1080p, I think. No, do I have? I might have one playthrough of 1440p. Yeah, see how locked in they are to their animations? Maybe dodging is like secretly goated in this game for having an easy time. Is like Witcher 3 where the rolls are secretly terrible. That faint like brief moment during the Witcher 3 DLC where the combat system gets kind of good for a little bit and you're like, oh damn, it could have been this the whole time. If only this had been where they started. Like, holy shit. Now I'm just reading the script. Fuck. The Toad Prince boss is where Witcher 3 finally starts to actually give a shit about its combat, and someone actually sat down and thought, wait, what if we made a good fight? Wait, what? We could do that? Like, yeah, look, the pieces are here. What if we had, like, moves you could react to and that you required different, like, responses to the different thing? Wait, what? What sorcery is it? And it's like, damn, if you had started at that, like, holy shit. I'm not saying like the Toad Prince is like a oh my god chef's kiss fight or anything. Again, I'm literally reading the script at this point. But like it's good, you know, like it's a fun time. Like it uses some of the systems and mechanics, whereas before that it was just fucking nothing, man. You can also, depending on how you've built Geralt at that point, you can literally just go up to the Toad Prince, hold down left click, and he will just kill the fight in like 3 seconds. So that sucks too. What's the best Witcher game story-wise? Believe it or not, Witcher 1. If you're talking about... So Witcher 2 is the most complex story. Witcher 1 has the best story. Witcher 3 has the best writing. And I know that sounds weird, but there's different kinds of writing. Witcher 3 is the best like dialogue writing and character writing, by far. Also the best voice acting. Like, it's really confident, but the story it's telling is not really good. Hearts of Stone is pretty good, though. Blood and Wine is better than the main quest, but it's not as good as Hearts of Stone. Although you may enjoy Blood and Wine better, sometimes I do, because there is a standout character in Blood and Wine that from the books who is a fan favorite and is also one of my favorites too. I really like that character a lot. So just having that character on the screen is like, oh, cool, you know, like that brings a lot of enjoyment to me for that DLC. Best boy, yeah, best boy. But yeah, The Witcher 1 has the best story for sure. IMO. Witcher 2 is the most complex story. And there's something I admire about how complex that story is and how it just kind of almost doesn't give a single shit if you can follow it or not. It's like, yeah, whatever, play it again. It's like the toast of stories, cook it again. It's like, okay, cool, thank you. Which of the games has the best intro for its story? It might be Witcher 3 base game, to be honest, for White Orchard, but I feel like it drops a bit for Velen. Oh, but definitely Witcher 3, definitely. I'm reading from the script at this point. Like, I talk in great detail about how I think one of the reasons why Witcher 3 is so successful is because the opening is just so strong. Like, the opening nails everything it needs to do. And I would say that even when you get to Velen, as long as you do the main quest... not rush it, but as long as you do the main quest, the Bloody Baron stuff, when you first get to Velen somewhat quickly, it continues. Like, Velen is the best part of Witcher 3 base game. Easily. Some games are made by one person, but usually they also, because it's a visual format, it's not the same as like having someone talk directly into your head through your eyes as you're reading, right? You can just kind of... you get a better sense of the kind of person that you're following along with that. It's not impossible in other formats, but that's how I feel. And also books have no budget constraints. Like, I say this in the Witcher 3 video. I've almost asked Merrick, I've almost commissioned art for Merrick for this bit a few times, and I keep going back and forth on it. He doesn't know this, actually. I never brought this up to him. Books don't have a budget. You know, like, you can say whatever you want. The scale can go as big as you want, and it doesn't matter. It's always going to be the cost of per word on per page is going to be the same. You know. I've harped on about this a little too much, so I don't know if I want to repeat the whole spiel again. But basically, my take on a lot of sci-fi movies, especially, is that they're structured like short stories. And they don't have third acts. I talk about this in the Witcher 3 video. Because that's my criticism for a lot of the side quests in that game too. It's like a lot of short story structure that they have an act 1, they have an act 2, and at the end of act 2, in most three act structure stories, act 2 is when the big shakeup happens, and you're like, whoa, what the hell? Where does this go? And then at the end of it, it's like, it doesn't. You know, kind of like what this game just did. It kind of ended like at the end of what Act 2 should have been, IMO, and now we're doing the DLC, which is kind of continuing it. So I guess we'll see where it goes. But it's just like wait, what? Where's the rest? It's ending just as it's getting interesting. Please, I would like to know more. Yeah, that's my take on a lot of sci-fi movies, and Annihilation fits it. So does Ex Machina. So does the movie Coherence. Decent movies, like have a lot going for them, but same problem. Is the Witcher 3 video just your manifesto at this point? Yep, I have a lot of grievances with the world, and you motherfuckers are gonna hear about it. Alright, see, this is cool. This sort of thing should have been in the base game really early on. Experimenting with environmental stuff that you can point the flashlight at. This is neat, I like this. You know what other game finally starts to experiment with its gameplay and should have done it sooner on instead of that? Witcher 3. Read about it more. Someone said, what's going to be the most controversial part of the Witcher 3 video? It's going to be the gameplay part where I say all of this was made before the remaster came out, so you're just going to have to sit for an hour before we get to the part that I made afterwards, because this is how the base game worked, and you just have to remember that. And now we're going to go to how the game works right now, because I'm not remaking this bit. Fuck that. That's going to be the most controversial part. The side quest part is probably going to be the most controversial, I think. Although there might be one part that tops that somewhere earlier on. Do you think there's going to be a point where more than 50% of your main channel video jokes will be stream references? No, I try to make the stream references as unobtrusive as possible. Like when I say useless, just making the screen go grayscale, making the reference something that sounds maybe a little strange but still is like a natural part of what I'm saying. There have been a few times where I've like done Yusuke voice outright or something, and I just sound like I'm crazy. But you know, it's not too bad so far. There is a stream joke in the Witcher 3 video that I've gone back and forth on cutting a lot. I can't get the delivery right on it, so that's why. Is the joke Steins Gate related? No. It's great vegetables related. But it's not great vegetables. Favorite dead meme? The Witcher 3 video. But maybe I'm just ahead on the curve on that one. I love the way the Witcher books are written. I do too for the first two, and I do enjoy the next 5, but they walk, and some of the scene setups are a bit too long, but never as long as they are in George R.R. Martin, Robert Jordan, Tolkien land. I think there's that one scene where all the kings and queens are having a meeting while it's raining outside. And that's pretty much as long as it gets, and even that goes a touch too long for me. But that's about it. I read the short story collections, but wasn't really into the first continuous Witcher book. Does it get more like those stories again? Nope, it never does. Okay, is that true? So, I think at the start of book 3, maybe it's book 4 of the longer series. It's book. Oh fuck, is it book 3 or book 4? I can't remember. It struck me. This is in the video. It struck me that Sapkowski just started getting bored and just started adding narrative layers and complexity in what he was saying just for the sheer fuckery of it. Like, just whatever. You know, how many narrative framings are you on? 2? You fucking child. Look at me. Like just so much of it is like we're reading a historical record of someone's testimony that was in a courtroom about their investigation that happened from a report that happened with someone else that was there about some guy they spoke to who just so happened to see Geralt and Ciri at some point. You know, it's just so many layers. You know, it's just for the sake of it. And I actually liked it. I loved it. So in that respect, it kind of gets back to the short stories. Translation and adaptation is a what's the term I wanted to say here? It's not completely unrespected. It's an underappreciated art form. So much work goes into that, man. But I think the basis is still there. Now, of course, I can't I can't reliably judge how well it was done without actually learning Polish. And it wouldn't just be learning Polish. I would have to learn Polish to a very, very high level, or with anything, you know, like if you want to read one of your Japanese animes in actual Japanese, and then judge how it was localized and translated, then you would have to learn Japanese to an extremely hard level. It's not just Polish. But I think at some point, in order just to have a discussion, you have to assume that if you did enjoy it, then the adaptation and translation was done to a high enough standard that you can be like, I give credit to the translator, but also to the original work. Like, you have to do that. I am curious if I did learn Polish and I read the Witcher books in their original language, if I would find the same things of like fucking like
Geralt is constantly doing twirls and pirouettes while grinning hideously, or smiling hideously. There's these certain things, kind of like the braid tugging from Wheel of Time. There's a hilarious Reddit comment that I read a while back. Maybe if I can find it, I'll read it later on. There's certain phrases that some authors are very fond of saying, and they don't realize how often they're saying it, and they also don't realize how it sticks out to someone who is reading a lot of their works back to back. So even if you have a rule that you only say one phrase, that's a very uncommon phrase once per book. If someone is reading your books like snappy one after another, they are going to pick up on it, and it's going to start to bother them. That's why one of the most important parts of editing anything, including the scripts, and why Lily and I always read them out loud, is that we listen very carefully to repetition in any, I want to say semantics, but not really. It's any repetition in words and phrases. Especially big words that stand out, that are not frequently used. And you want to get rid of that shit. But even small words can stick out. If you accidentally use the word ass 7 times in a sentence and it's not on purpose for reinforcement, then at the end of that sentence, all the reader's going to think of is like how much you use the word ass. It's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? So that sort of thing. Editing is not just about, does the sentence flow well, or is there a spelling mistake, or, you know, grammatical errors or anything. Those are important too, don't get me wrong, but it's also about like little things like that. The fundamentals are really, really important. Fundamentals are the most important thing in anything, really. When shooting crop up is one I'm not sure if I like something due to a potential bad translation job, i.e. I like the character writing less than Persona 2 Eternal Punishment compared to Persona 2 Innocent Sin. Just always comes back to Persona 2, and I'm not sure if it's because I read the latter as a modern fan translation and the former as an early 2000s official translation. It's the weeb struggle, I know, yeah. No, for real though, it is an issue, right? And people will argue about the translations. I had a few people tell me that I shouldn't read the official translations of the Witcher books, and instead I should read some fan translation that you can get. But I thought the official one was pretty good. Acknowledge the penis joke. I like that there's a penis. I like that it makes sense that the person would be nude, because sometimes that happens, and it's not like it's like, oh, it's a joke or anything. It's just how it is. It seems very mature to me, actually. I like it. I think that it's a good inclusion. Sometimes people are naked. I talk about this in the Witcher 3 video. Is there Alan in the Witcher video? In a way, there's Alan in every video. You know how I am when it comes to details. There's no Alan Wake in the Witcher video. No. What's your favorite Witcher short story? It might be The Last Wish. I'm not sure. That one's up there. This is very Witcher. Am I crazy for thinking it would just be more fun if that as you found these, you just got them all forever? They're incremental upgrades. Just let me have them all on. And then every single time you get a charm, you're like, hell yeah, I got a charm, you know? And if it's too powerful with them all, just nerf them a tiny little bit to make it that way. Like, I don't know. I don't like this choice. Sometimes choices aren't a good thing. Is this the point in the Witcher 3 video? Hold on, let me go to my mind place. Girl, he's a Witcher. Place of power gotta be winds howling. Drowner. No. But I do complain about the progression system, yeah. Hey Joe, once you were talking about The Witcher 3, you made a distinction between side content and optional main content. That's a banger point in the script, yeah. And I wonder where you put Archdragon Peak in this distinction. Side content for sure, yeah. It's not optional main content, that's side content. Before I start talking, I need to make good on a promise that I said last time that I ended the stream. So, this is just 1 minute. Don't get all crazy like, oh my god, here comes the whole thing. This is just 1 minute. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is a weird sequel. As is tradition for this channel, we can break this down much more than it needs. There's a 3 right there, even though this will be the first and only Witcher game that most people will play. Even if this is their favorite game, most people won't go back to the first 2. Many of them won't even play the DLC for Wild Hunt. And that their part is weird too. Wild Hunt, not the Wild Hunt, which is how the group is always referred to in the books and games. Just Wild Hunt, because repeating the twice in the title would be visually and audibly awkward. Even weirder is that the Wild Hunt is barely in the game. They are undoubtedly important to the plot and do serve as the game's major antagonistic force, but their screen time is shockingly low for something that is placed in the title.
The last pieces are the colon, which are inherently odd and the butt of many wordplay jokes in the literary world, and as we all know, Witcher is a weird word. Welcome to the third. Alright, promise kept. You have ruined the word together for me. I added it to the video. So enjoy. Yeah, it's pretty ruined, huh?